Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Taberry here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle Edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. It is a Hey Guys First Friday. Get your Hey Guys Hey Guys questions into the fellows. We will tackle that at 11 o'clock. 10:30, our good buddy Jake Trotter from ESPN is going to stop by. John Breech going to join us from New Orleans down in the Super Bowl. He will join us from CBS coming up at 11:30. And, of course, you're officially endorsed. I've never done this. I've never taken a recommendation as an officially endorsed. But I'm going to do it. Someone reached out to me on social. Quite honestly, what they were selling seemed like a win to me. So we're going to do that coming up at 11:50. All right, this is the last 12 hours with the boys. This is the last 12 hours. All of these things happen in the last, I guess more like 16 hours. Last 16 hours. So last night, last regular season home game for NBC, 7th grade. Last regular season game. The tournament's this weekend. So last middle school 7th grade game for him. So team we had not beaten them in youth sports. Have played them pretty consistently since 3rd grade. Always a close game. Always tight, always close, but they always win. They're always a little bit more clutch down the stretch, and they win the games. Our kids were down 24-11, 24-9, 24-11, something like that in the first quarter, and stormed back and cut it to 4 or 5 at half. Kids just had a tremendous amount of fight. A lot of kids have a tremendous amount of fight, and what is pretty crazy about this is, we get towards the end of the game, and it's a really tight situation. And some of these kids are playing out of their minds, some of these kids on his team. And it's going back and forth, 2, 3, here. So we tie it with a 3, 41-41 at the end of regulation. Our point guard gets a clean steal. They call a foul on it, but no free throws, so sideline out of bounds. The other team draws up a play, doesn't score. Back and forth, overtime. One of their kids hits a 3 with 10 seconds left that puts them up 2. We come down, kind of fumble through the basketball. Nobody can handle it. Eventually, somehow, I didn't even know we had a timeout. We took a timeout with 2.1 seconds left. We have the ball at midcourt. So the play that we draw up, it's like a line play, and our point guard is cutting right, and the first option is probably to get it to him, run into the basket. He's sort of open and maybe could have. The other play was for NBC, who was inbounding it, to get it to our big and then try to get it back for a shot. Now, remember, he broke his wrist over Christmas break, and he missed 2 weeks of play, missed like 6 games, 4 to 5, 6. And this is his favorite sport. So we run the inbound play. He tosses it to one of his best buddies, who tosses it back, and I swear to God, he hit a legitimate half-court bank-in game winner from half-court. Place goes nuts. Like, I've never made all the basketball I played in my life. I've never even been in the vicinity of that. It's from probably 2 feet inside the half-court line, down 2 with 2 seconds to win.
Like Evan Turner, Big Ten tournament?
Yeah. Except not even really running to the rim. I mean, it's kind of a jump shot from half-court that he banked in. Place goes nuts, pandemonium, pour water on him. Of course, the athletic director of the middle school and everyone's trying to keep people off the court, all of this. The kids are mopping up things. I mean, it was pandemonium, absolute nuts. I was so happy for all of them, though, because they had not beaten this team, and it really took all of them to get to this point. I was especially happy for him because obviously he's my son, but beyond the fact that he just had this ridiculous injury, skiing of all things, and he said, dude, you failed an intelligence test. So to have the moment was pretty cool. And I told him afterwards, this is why you play, man. This is why you play. Not to hit a half-court shot. You may never hit another one. Likely won't. Likely will never hit another shot like that in his life. Those are very rare to come by. But I said what's cool about it was how all of your guys celebrated together, and that's what sport is, right? That's what sport is at its best, is this team was down 13. This is 7th grade basketball, right? It's, everybody's got kids. But that's why I'm so adamant about getting kids, and it doesn't matter if it's sports or if it's the band, if it's math club, if it's whatever, in an era where we are constantly chasing our kids off of their phones. If you can get them into activities, they can have fellowship, they can have peer groups, they can have people who support them, and they can have something that will take their eyes off their screens. And the reason that's so important is because last night at dinner, after all of this, we're sitting down at dinner, and he got to pick the restaurant, obviously, and I sit down at dinner, and Beamsy says to me, Dad, Myles Garrett got traded to the Bears. And
Good for him.
I said, no, news to me. I think I'd know. And he goes, Dad, Myles Garrett got traded to the Bears. I said, who told you that? He goes, Bootsy. I said, well, where did you hear that? He goes, I saw it on a Snapchat. So some idiots on a Snapchat saying they should trade Myles Garrett to the Bears. Bootsy thinks he thinks it's Schefter. To him, Stitch or Smeck or whatever the heck these guys' names are, it doesn't matter. They're all just nameless, faceless. There is no difference to him between a YouTuber and Schefter. No difference. Makes no difference to him. I said, dude, I'm telling you, Myles didn't get traded to the Bears. I promise you that. I would know that. No matter what was going on last night, I would know if Myles Garrett got traded to the Bears on a random Tuesday night. And that's exactly how he got it. Now, he did redeem himself this morning. They're out of school. So he redeemed himself this morning. I hear from upstairs, I think he's playing the college football video game because I can hear Fowler and Herbstreit describing a Buckeye game. So I go up there, and he's watching Ohio State, Oregon in the Rose Bowl. And I said, what are you doing? I thought you were playing the game. He goes, no, I just wanted to watch us cook them again. And I said, okay, you're back. I'll give you a pass. I'll give you a pass on the Myles Garrett thing. We'll let that slide. But I'm telling you, anything you can do to get your kids off the screens, kids, because it is a disinformation, just cesspool of nonsense. I am constantly dealing with this with them.
Well, speculation is news.
And not even. Hypothetical trades by clowns on YouTube is news.
Because Athlon Sports has a headline, Bears get good news following latest NFL trade request. And they basically read yarn the Bears to Myles Garrett and Myles Garrett to the Bears because when Myles Garrett wants out of Cleveland, Chicago isn't Cleveland. The Bears need help on the defensive line. So Myles Garrett to Chicago. Like, all right,
I think Orlovsky put on, like, First Take, would you do 10, 39, and 41 for Myles? And the Bears must have 10, 39, and 41. So he's like, would you do this for Myles? That I'm guessing that's probably where this all emanated from. Like, they can't tell the difference. To the point of when I tell them that the Lakers acquired Luka Doncic over the weekend, they don't believe me. I'm like, no, I'm telling you. Look, this is ESPN. Let's go to the website. To them, there's no difference.
Fake news at you.
And even on that, Shams had to put a second tweet out saying, yes, this is for real.
Yeah, you can't trust anything anymore. You can't trust anything. Like, what's real? You got to quadruple verify it.
I think it was last night on the Cleveland-Boston broadcast, Allie LaForce said that she had talked to Donovan Mitchell about the Luka trade. And Mitchell said that he got an alert on his phone at like 3 a.m, fell back asleep, had a basketball dream, woke up, thought he was dreaming about the Luka news, and it had to have it confirmed to him by the team.
This is the America we live in, kids.
Well, we had this just 2 days ago, right, where someone put out there that Hartline and Ohio State were finalizing the deal for him to become the offensive coordinator, and it just ran that Hartline had the job.
Yeah, and he may very well end up with it, and God bless. So, sometimes this stuff, there is, a little bit of seeds of truth to them, but it's just incredible. Yeah. Sit down to dinner. The Browns traded Myles Garrett to the Bears.
I'd take that deal as a Browns fan, by the way.
You'd sign right up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Do it today.
Have what would they have? 6 picks in the top 50?
I did love just listening and trying to take in as much from, this is early radio row. The party doesn't start till Rothman and Ice roll in today at noon.
Yeah.
But most of the chatter being Myles Garrett. I'm like, oh, the Browns are winning something.
There you go. Somehow winning Super Bowl Media Day. I actually think Shad Khan did. Did you see his yacht that somehow was parked in the Mississippi River?
That wins Super Bowl week.
Oh, my.
How do you get it up there? How do you drive that thing? How's the Mississippi River deep enough? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That thing's a monster. I didn't even know that was. I know they have the paddle boats down there.
It's almost like you need a tugboat to bring it into the shoreline.
I remember a couple years ago when they had the coverage of Cliff Kingsbury and his house and at the draft, and we all thought he was living well.
No.
A little next level here.
Millionaires, billionaires. Lots of millions to get a billion. Lots of fun. Last night, other than the successes of young NBC, was kind of a downer, man. A little bit of a bummer across the board, both the Jackets and the Cavs. We'll get into that. Jim Knowles with his introductory press conference over in State College, what he had to say about the divorce from Ohio State. It's National Signing Day, although you wouldn't know it. We'll have a little fun with that as well. And, of course, it is a Hey Guys First Friday edition. We're off and running. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Tri-State Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Tri-State Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, it's Anthony. I got to tell you, when you don't have the support you need, it affects everything. Feet, knees, hips, back, even your mood. I finally went to the Good Feet store, and once I was personally fitted for my arch supports, I felt a ton better. I will never wear another pair of shoes again without sliding in my personally fit Good Feet arch supports. That's because they help me eliminate my foot pain. It's such a good feeling knowing that I can be on my feet and not worrying about I'm going to wake up with low back pain or feel a weakness somewhere. I trust the Good Feet store because for more than 30 years, they've helped thousands of people just like me get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. They take pleasure in that. And it's their personal 3-step system designed to support, balance, and strengthen your feet that guides them into their ideal position. I'm the proof. I wear them every day, even when I'm biking at the gym. So go in, take the free test walk at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
The Buckeyes are national champions. And you listen to it all right here on The Fan. And next year when they do it again, it'll be here on The Fan. And the year after that, well, you know the drill. Always and forever, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, looking at a cloudy day with a high of 35. We are tracking the possibility of some light freezing rain that will develop between 7 and 9 o'clock this evening. Tonight, that freezing rain will change to all rain with a low of 36. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Can I tase Common Man in the nuts? Fine by us, but he may like it. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
Did you guys see last night, LeBron, Lakers beat the Clippers. It was like LeBron's first time talking since the Luka deal. And there was all this speculation that he would somehow not want to be a part of this. And he said, if I didn't want to be here, I'd waive my no trade clause and I'd be gone. Like, that was one of the funniest things in the fallout of that deal, which I think a lot of people are still trying to wrap their head around, is the notion that, like, LeBron would somehow have been not for that. Like, somehow we would not want a 25-year-old who sees the game similarly to him, who is more dominant than him, playing a similar style, that somehow we would not want to be a part of that. It's
there were
just nonsensical.
A lot of calls made between Dallas and Los Angeles from everything that's been reported, but you can bet LeBron was at least informed that something was happening. Like Dallas, Jason Kidd, the Mavericks head coach, didn't even know about it. Kyrie didn't even know about it. But LeBron knew.
I don't believe that either. Excuse me. I don't believe that either. I don't believe that Jason Kidd didn't know about that. There's just no way. Like the idea that it's two general managers that make a deal like that, like ownership would know about it. I think Jason Kidd would know about it. I think LeBron knew about it. I'm guessing for sure JJ Redick knew about it. Like that's probably as wide as the circle goes. But like if you're for all of the things, and I think you think about LeBron, to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 16, 17 as the chosen one, and then live up to all of it. Do all of it. Do everything, whatever the very highest expectations of you were as a high school kid, to exceed all of it. To still be playing at an elite level. Madison Garden had a triple-double on Saturday night. He had 26, 9, and 7 or something last night in year 22. We have no precedent for this. You just don't. I mean, Brady did it in football, but it's not even – I don't think you compare the two. I mean, quarterback is a relatively stationary position. It's not running up and down the court and playing point guard. Like, there's nothing really like it. I guess Ovechkin's kind of doing it in hockey, kind of doing it at that level. But even that, it's more of a specialized skill that he has perfected in terms of goal scoring. It's not requiring the all around game that LeBron does. So there's really no precedent for it. But like the notion that he wouldn't know that or would not be on board with that, I don't buy it. And I do. If you were to say to me, do you think, as close as he is with Anthony Davis, that the Lakers came to him and said, hey, we're going to, by the way, Clutch is an Anthony Davis, like Anthony Davis Clutch client, which LeBron is part ownership with. Like, do I think LeBron would say, like, no, I'm keeping AD? No, I think he would say, let's go with Luka and see where this goes, for sure. And who could blame him? And I think that what you fall back on is the business of basketball. You could have a wild trade deadline. I saw Durant was held out last night. You could have some pretty crazy stuff here leading up to the trade deadline in the NBA, which you've already had. I mean, you've already had with the Luka deal, which is as big a deal as I can remember of a player like that. in his mid-20s. You just
in his prime, that's unprecedented. Like
I couldn't think of one.
I saw just people love to make comparisons when things like this happen of what like an NFL trade would mean. And somebody threw out there if Joe Burrow wasn't happy with the Bengals and asked out, or if all of a sudden the Bengals decided that Joe Burrow had too much pie and shipped him to Dallas.
Yeah, it's like it's Burrow, it's Lamar, like that type of a thing. It would honestly, if Deshaun didn't have the off-field stuff and he didn't miss the year, it would have been like when they acquired him, like top of one of the better quarterbacks in the league type situation. But Luke is even beyond that. I mean, he's more in like the Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow chatter in terms of NBA circles. And then it's generational too. So there's just this happens in soccer a lot in the transfer window. Like you'll see Cristiano Ronaldo go from Manchester United to Real Madrid. You'll see Kylian Mbappe go from PSG to Real Madrid. Like you see this type of stuff in the prime of their careers in the soccer world. You just rarely see it in American sports.
Yeah, you mentioned Josh Allen. That's what I was thinking. It's like the Bills are like, well, we can't get over the hump with him. Let's go ahead and send him off to someone else. And then,
like the Cowboys, too. Like send him to the Cowboys, to Reese's point, like the most glamorous team.
Send him off for Dak, another guy that can't get over the hump.
Right. Well, that's a good one, actually.
Oft
the Dak
injured.
for Allen, that's the one. Because Allen for Dak. Because Anthony Davis isn't nothing, but he's older. Yeah. And so I think you nailed it. That would be the NFL equivalent. It would be like Burrow, Allen, Lamar for Dak.
And to do it in the middle of the night.
And do it in the middle of the night.
On a Saturday.
Right. Yeah. Or like the Rams. Like if the Rams traded Stafford for Allen, kind of in the middle of the night, or for Lamar in the middle of the night. Like, and Buffalo's like, boy, Josh just can't play good enough the postseason. Maybe Matt Stafford could get us over the hump. And then meantime, the Rams get a reset. Yeah, that's kind of where it is. I had by the time we got home last night after all of the thrills of middle school hoops, I double screened both of these ones. Let's stay in the basketball world, and then we'll get to the hockey in a second. Just a really hard matchup for the Cavaliers with Porzingis in there. I mean, I'm watching this last night, and they've got Strus trying to guard Porzingis. And it's like, this just height-wise, this is not a good thing. So this is why when you hear people say, can the Cavaliers really just stand pat with this group knowing that Boston's out there? My answer to that is yes, because I think that they will get to that point, and who knows if Boston can be healthy. Who knows if Porzingis will get there by the time you get to the finals. They could get banged up somewhere else. I still like Cleveland's depth. I wouldn't mess with that roster very much. But as is constructed right now, it's a tough matchup for them. Just in terms of Boston's length race.
Yeah, so now the season series goes in favor of the Celtics 2-1, and in that Cavs win, Porzingis didn't play, which, while you're going to celebrate whenever you beat the Boston Celtics, I knew in the back of my head, once they add Kristaps back into the lineup, it's a completely different animal, especially when you've got friggin' Al Horford and Derek White draining threes in the manner that they do, but Boston does this to everybody. And I think that's the hill you've got to get over, obviously the defending NBA champions. But with last night, and Okoro obviously out for the Cavs, that would help defensively a little bit.
Yeah.
But I just think that it's right now this Boston Celtics team feels inevitable.
They seem like Kansas City.
Uh-huh.
Like they're kind of just messing around until they need to.
Because the Cavs
just have so much depth and length.
You get down, 28-15 in the first quarter, and I felt to myself, like, well, they're not digging out of that. And they fought. No. Like, they didn't get their asses kicked, but early on they did, and you cannot do that to a team that shoots as well as Boston that does everything else as well.
Especially on a night when you're not shooting, especially the three. Well, they did not hit.
If you're going to miss, get your own rebound, but they couldn't do that either.
I was surprised. On the other screen, I had, obviously, Jackets and Sabres. I was surprised how many empty seats in Buffalo. Like, what do you got to do in Buffalo last night? The whole third period, there were banks of seats empty, Bake. What the hell's going on up there?
They're the worst team in the Eastern Conference right now, points-wise, and I know they're not super far out, but I think the thing with Buffalo is they've been going through a rebuild for a long time, and they've had young guys, and they've been told, hey, this is our chance, this is our time, it's going to happen, and it just keeps going for them. This is like the longest rebuild ever, and it's almost like they've got to reset again now.
Well, they rebuilt with the Eichel when they drafted him, and then so that never came to fruition.
Mm-mm.
Right? I mean, that was supposed to be it. And now, obviously, he's in Vegas. Successful road trip. Jackets back at home tomorrow night. They get the Utah Hockey Club at 7 o'clock. obviously a lot of guys down. Werenski was out of this one as well. What did we hear on that with Zach?
So it's an upper body injury. They said he's day to day. I know when it first happened in that Utah game, it didn't look like a major hit, but the way he kind of grabbed his arm and kind of favored his right arm and shoulder, I got real nervous. And he left the game, and then he came back in, and you thought, well, maybe this is okay. Maybe they're just trying to steal a little bit of extra time here as we go into this break, although he's supposed to be on the Four Nations team for the United States, so he won't be getting much of a break.
That has me worried. Like the time on ice that man's spent this season, and every single solitary second you have Werenski out there, he's the difference. But then with the 2 weeks that you're going to give the rest of the team, you're not giving it to Z, and it's like, please manage his minutes, Team USA.
Yeah, keep him out of it, honestly. It's just a made-up tournament anyway, right?
Well, and Alex Pietrangelo for Vegas has already backed out of that tournament because he's nursing injuries. He played against the Jackets the other night, but he's not going to play in it because he wants to take the time to rest and heal.
Yeah, do the same with Z. We got to make a run at this thing. You need him to be healthy to do it. Jim Knowles is the new defensive coordinator at Penn State. We'll update you on what we're hearing on the Ohio State side of things as they look to fill 3 positions on their coaching staff, and you will hear from Jim Knowles on why he left Ohio State to be the defensive coordinator at rival Penn State. That's 2 minutes from right now. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
I'm Rick Reichert. Fast Start February is when Reichert Ford turns it up. Reichert Ford needs to sell 300 new Fords this month. So we are cutting amazing deals like this. Lease a new 2024 Hybrid F-150 for just $599 a month for 36 months, 0 down. Or lease new 2024 Bronco Sport for just $399 a month for 36 months. Also, 0 down. And every new Ford comes with Reichert Ford's exclusive lifetime powertrain warranty. Reichert Ford has new vehicles coming in every day. Hundreds of new Fords arrived just last month alone, and hundreds more are set to arrive right now. So race into Reichert Ford for Fast Start February, the largest volume Ford dealer in Ohio at Route 33 and Hamilton Road, 2 minutes off 270, and at ReichertFord.com. Based on 2024 Ford report for total new retail sales. Cincinnati region. Leases on approved credit. No security deposit required. Ends 3/1. Come in now. We're dealing.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. Jim Knowles officially introduced as the defensive coordinator as I get pretty funny. I got to give full credit on this. This is to Woofter 13. Got to correct you, Bo. Penn State is unrivaled. My fault. Yes, they are unrivaled. The unrivaled Nittany Lions. Jim Knowles introduced over there. Ohio State and Ryan Day still have not filled those positions, defensive coordinator, offensive line coach. Obviously, a lot of rumors that it's going to come from in-house with the 2 coordinators, whether that be Walton, Guerreri. I still think Laurinaitis ought to get a pretty good look at it for that. Feel like he's more than capable of doing that job, but who knows? So that could be an in-house hire there, and then the same thing could happen on the offensive side with Brian Hartline, who's already a co-offensive coordinator, kind of elevating there. And And then offensive line, what does that look like? That's kind of where it feels like the tea leaves are going, but who knows? Surprises can come out of nowhere. I don't think anybody expected Bill O'Brien's name to be the one that became official at Ohio State when he became the offensive coordinator. You knew, obviously, that Ryan was looking for someone with experience, someone he could turn the offense over to. But Bill kind of came out of nowhere, so you never know. And then once Bill took the job at BC, Chip wasn't here until the middle of February. So there's a lot of things and a lot of time that can happen here, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that the actual national signing day that really matters was back in December. We'll get into the one that's today momentarily. So that's kind of where the Buckeyes are in this. Now, as for Knowles, his 3-year run here, he was hired to do a job, and he did it at a very high level. The defense got better and better each year to the point of last year it was the number one defense in America. At times they were dominant. His ability to put Ohio State defensively in elite places from a game plan perspective. If you look back on his tenure, there aren't a whole lot of games that you look back on and go, what were they thinking there? There really aren't too many. Most of the times when they gave up points, they gave them up to teams that were of an incredible quality, like Oregon or even Georgia a couple of years ago. Like that's kind of the way that it happens. His defense has got better and better each year. He'll be missed. He's now on the other side of this thing, though, and so you'll be going against him in recruiting and obviously in game planning as well. He was available yesterday at his press conference introducing him at Penn State as a defensive coordinator. Here are his thoughts on the transition from Ohio State to Penn State.
I'm grateful for my time at Ohio State and the opportunity that Coach Day gave me. You know, we had the number one defense in the country. We won a national championship. Had great relationships with the players and with Coach Day and the administration, felt supported. You know, you reach a point in your career where you're given opportunities based on past performance. And, you know, like I've said, Penn State, for me, growing up in inner city Philly was the epitome of college football, you know, when I was a kid. I was never talented enough to make it to Penn State as a player, but, you know, given the opportunity to do it now as a coach, you know, it's really where I want to be to continue my career and bring any expertise that I can, you know, to the organization.
There's a real transient point where we're at a very transient point in the sport. If you think about it, just think about in the last decade or so, you think about the coaches who have gone from Michigan to Ohio State to Michigan, now Ohio State to Penn State. It's such a drastic turn, and I don't know if it's just, you never know what's in a guy's head. You don't know what their why is, or, you know, Jim Knowles is pretty adamant on this, that this was about returning to Pennsylvania, and that Penn State was a dream. I'm sure also getting a raise was part of it. That makes sense too. You always want to be at the very top of your sport. Excuse me.
Especially if you're throwing defenses out there that are of the highest caliber, and a lot of the ingredients he cooked with in Columbus, he'll be cooking with in Happy Valley.
Absolutely. And so you don't know what those highs are, or you don't know what those whys are. You don't know what makes a guy tick. He's saying it's to go home. Being the highest paid coordinator is part of it as well. There was a time in this sport where you would have defensive coordinators that would be around forever until they got head coaching jobs. I mean, that was offensive coordinators too. Like, if I think about my first job covering major college football, Bobby Bowden had a defensive coordinator named Mickey Andrews who was with him the entire time he was in Tallahassee, like 30 years as the defensive coordinator at Florida State. I think about when I first got here and Tress's staff, and you think about it went from all of a sudden, when you think about Haycock and Fickle when I got here, but it was D'Antonio before it. And there was, Jim Haycock wasn't leaving Ohio State to go be the defensive coordinator somewhere else. Mark D'Antonio wasn't leaving Ohio State to go be the defensive coordinator somewhere else. Luke Fickell wasn't leaving Ohio State to be the defensive coordinator somewhere else. You were already at the pinnacle of the sport. There's 15 or 20 jobs around the country, and I would have said at the time when I was down there, Florida State would have been one of them, where if you had the coordinator job there, you weren't looking to go somewhere else. That wasn't the case. There wasn't this currency with assistant coaches that we're seeing now, where you bounce from one place to the next. You could go be a head coach and then go back to another place. Like, I think Will Muschamp has been either the head coach or the defensive coordinator at every school in the Southeastern Conference. It feels like it. So, like, you could do that, but you rarely see guys leave for other coordinator jobs somewhere else doing a parallel job. In this instance, I think a downgrade. Now, for him, it's not because he's making more money and it's home, but this is the new nature of this sport. It's transient, not just with the players, but also with the staffs.
But we talked about this a little bit last week with guys that may want to leave Ohio State and go to the NFL. It's hard for us here in Columbus, Ohio, to think, why would someone ever want to leave Ohio State? It's the best place in the world. It's the top of the college football world. But we don't know everybody's why, and not everybody's dream job was to be at Ohio State. Some guys' dream job was to be in the NFL. Other guys like Jim Knowles, take him for his word, his dream job growing up was to be at Penn State.
Yeah. I mean, we had that with support staff too, right? I mean, we've had that now with a recruiting coordinator who went to Michigan. And then yesterday, the news that a recruiting coordinator went to LSU. It's kind of where this sport is. That's why I said, earlier this week when I was talking about in college football, college athletics in general, we are used to and prepared for rooting for laundry. It's always been that way. It's rarely been that way with the coaches. Usually the coaches would stick. As long as they won, they would stick. But we've been used to that from players for a long time, where you're talking 4 years and then you get that 4-year run and then you're done. Now, that can be truncated now, or it can be a year or two and then they're done. So we're prepared for that. But it is an adjustment to think about coordinators bouncing around. Back to the Ohio State side of things. Ryan Day winning a national championship affords him a lot of reign to do with these positions what he wants. Now, does he want to go back to a situation where he is calling plays? My hunch is no, that he probably doesn't. So if it is Brian who is given that responsibility, boy, he's been prepared for it. I mean, he's been the co-offensive coordinator here for a while. He's watched Ryan do it. He watched for a year as Chip do it. I would imagine that he would have the processes in place if it was going to be him who called them. If they go in a direction of finding somebody else on the offensive line to come back. For example, if Kevin Wilson were to come back, and I don't have this isn't pay attention to the scores, it's just throwing a name out there. Kevin obviously has done that in his career. He did it at Oklahoma years ago at a very high level. I do think that one of the positions offensively, whether it's the offensive line coach or the play caller offensive coordinator, which is I assume what Ryan's looking for, one of those two hires will be someone who has with a lot of experience. Ryan gravitates to those type of coaches anyway. He has. You think about the Mattson hire and all of that. He gravitates to those coaches anyway. Think about Jim Knowles. He gravitates at those positions to older guys who have a ton of experience, who have done it a bunch. It's really smart because, remember, he'd never been a head coach before. So for all of those reasons, it makes sense. My hunch is either offensive coordinator or offensive line will be someone with a ton of experience who can come in here and Ryan can not have to worry about that. Usually the offensive line coach is the run game coordinator, something like that. That's fine. Brian can call plays if that's the progression that they're looking for from him. But you have to have somebody that's hired on the offensive line with a ton of experience who Ryan can say, I don't have to worry about that. That's something to watch for me, guys, in this.
Yeah, I think with play calling for this Ohio State offense, I do think bringing someone in and doing that co-OC would be, I think, in the best interests of everybody. Because I think it gives someone, if it is going to be Brian Hartline, if he retains the co-OC role, or if they make him offensive coordinator and they make whoever else they bring in co-OC, then they're both able to do that and then have, delegation from Ryan Day. So are you going to have those three cooks in the kitchen? Because I don't know if a year off a national championship is probably the best time to give a guy who's never called plays the opportunity to call plays at Ohio State for a brand spanking new quarterback. But it makes me a little uneasy considering what you've got from this Ohio State offense and the talent that you have. You don't want to squander it because you weren't prepared at that position of most importance, being the offensive coordinator.
And a lot of those reasons we just talked about there, I feel like Kevin Wilson to me, is the perfect guy. He's a guy with head coaching experience that can help Ryan if Ryan wants to call the plays, or Ryan already has a relationship with him and can trust him to call plays. He's also been key in offensive line play at a lot of schools. You could have him work with maybe a Tim Drevno. You promote him to that offensive line coach and have Kevin Wilson work with him. I just think there's a lot of things with Kevin Wilson that make a lot of sense.
It seems pretty turnkey, right? Bring him in here, away you go. You've heard some of the other names, whether it's Jason Candle, the Toledo head coach, or Joe Moorhead, of course, was a coordinator at Penn State and the Akron head coach. Yeah. And Tim talked about that, right? Like a guy brings in, you want new ideas. What can you pick up from somebody else? I think that initially I thought this would go pretty quickly. And maybe it is behind the scenes, but it has been something that we're just kind of waiting on at this point. Is there any availability at Ohio State today with National Signing Day? Or because it's such a minimal signing day now, they skip it?
I haven't seen anything. Like the last player from the top 50 in the 24/7 Sports rankings, Ty Haywood, just committed to Michigan. That puts the Wolverines at 6th, but nobody else has really made any kind of waves. Similar.
Everybody else is locked in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nobody else. We'll get into that coming up next. Oh, what a day this used to be, kids. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with the sound of freshness. With new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items, so you save on all the crunch, all the flavor, all the just-picked goodness you love. Surround yourself with savings every time you shop with new low prices on apples, carrots, lettuce, celery, and more. Enjoy fresh savings on fresh produce at your neighborhood Giant Eagle.
Hey guys, it's Timmy Hall, and we are getting ready. You see, this ain't the little itty-bitty teeny-tiny bowl. This is Super Bowl 59. So get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is going to be key to hoisting that Lombardi trophy, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Looking at Saquon Barkley on the app now, plus 285 to get 2+ touchdowns. Gotta like that action. Lines and odds are subject to change. But hey, new DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code TheFan971. That's code TheFan971. And new customers will get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crowd is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Ohio only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
They're trained. They're fired up. Let's do it. When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Looking for a truck that can take on anything winter throws your way? Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. We got deals and the trucks to get you through the season in style and comfort. Lease the 2024 Tacoma for $249 per month with $299 due at signing, or tackle the winter with a 2025 Toyota Tundra built for the toughest conditions. I love mine. It's fantastic, and rates are as low as $299 APR for up to 72 months. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
Ready to be the change and have a positive impact on your community? Consider joining the Columbus Division of Police. Starting pay is $70,000 plus, growing to 6 figures after 4 years of service. We offer paid vacations, paid holidays, and health insurance. Do you aspire to complete your degree? We offer 100% tuition reimbursement after you complete your first year of service. Contact the CPD recruiting unit at jobs@columbuspolice.org or apply online at columbus.gov/government/jobs. The City of Columbus is an equal opportunity employer.
We have a lot of football happening. I'm here to help. Set your radio preset to the Fan. Very good. Now set a second one to ESPN Columbus. It's the HD2 button. Lastly, go to the Fan's HD3 and save the Fan 3. Crisis averted. You're welcome.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text GRIT to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone-boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text GRIT to 42424. That's GRIT to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky's Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
Oh, baby, there was a time when this was among the funnest sports days in the year. I loved it. It's great. So the way that it used to be for the kids out there is the January official visits were the most critical. This is 20 years ago. So you really wanted to get the last official visit from a kid at the end of January. And in many instances, if you were a big-time program, you could sway a kid with that last weekend. And then all of the kids would sign on today. The first Wednesday in February, you'd sign National Signing Day. And I've told many of the stories of the circuses that I saw in the South going from one school to the next. And kids, I remember one mom like stealing the letter of intent because the kid was trying to go to Oregon and running out of the press conference. Like the whole school was there. There were 11 kids up there to sign, and the kid was trying to sign. He was a defensive back. He was trying to sign to Oregon, and the mom raced up, grabbed the letter of intent, and ran out because she wanted him to play at Florida State. That happened. I remember our entire beat going to Jeanette, Pennsylvania to capture Terrell Pryor's National Signing Day for him to tell us that not today. Not today. We're going to do this another time. We go, wait, what? You're doing what? I'm going to play basketball, and then we're going to do something. Okay, fine. So eventually he signed much later into March, but the entire beat was over there trying to cover that. And so this was a true circus, but it was fun, man. It was a lot of fun. And the hopes and futures of these kids and the programs were really come down to this one Wednesday, this first Wednesday in February. And the other thing that was cool about it is at that time, the college football season was over January 1st, 2nd, somewhere like that. This was before even the playoff, right? So it was all done by the 1st or 2nd of January. And then what you had was kind of 5 weeks where you got to know all of the recruits because that's all you were doing. It was, how do we sign this class? Who are the guys that you have to put this class over the top? Can you win the recruiting national title 5-6 weeks after trying to win a national title? Well, now with the December early signing period, the emphasis has been put on the summer visits, more so even than the official visits during the season. And I was looking at this top 100, Reese. I can only find one kid, and it's a kid who just committed to Michigan, who was unsigned in the top 100 of the 24/7 heading into today.
Yeah,
one kid unsigned.
Michigan just landed offensive tackle Ty Haywood, but that was this morning, and he was crystal balled to Michigan, and they just are waiting for him to sign on the line. And I don't even think that matters as much anymore if you sign your NLI, because lawyers, but he committed to Michigan this morning, and he was 42nd in the class. He was the top-ranked tackle out of Texas. And then everybody else, during the early national signing period, put pen to paper.
It's interesting. The next guy on the 24/7 list is Zahir Mathis, and that was a guy that was committed to Ohio State and then decommitted and said he was not going to sign until this signing period. And it looks like he's a kid from Maryland. It looks like he's going to sign. That's the expectation, is he signs with Maryland today. But I thought it was funny on Bucknuts this morning. Bill Krulik, who obviously is great with the recruiting stuff, he had basically a wrap-up before today even started on the signing period, saying that the Buckeyes class was done. So
yeah, ESPN takes our conversation one step further. Haywood was the last remaining unsigned five-star football player in their class of 300.
That's the kid from Michigan. They went committed to Michigan.
The kid that just committed. So ESPN had him a 5-star, 24/7 had him a 4-star, whatever that composite ranking means, whatever On Three's got him as. He was the last of their class of 300. So
here's the other thing that really sucks about this. This is, for our standpoint, this used to be 3 hours of our show.
Yeah.
Like if this were Old National Signing Day, we would be doing 3 hours of where did this little Timmy sign? Where did little Johnny? Like that's all we would do. We'd be doing 3 hours of it. When's Devin Sanchez's signing day? Are we sure? Did they get the paper faxed in from Tavian St. Clair? Like that would have been what today would have been. Instead, it's in December in the middle of the NFL and college. So selfishly, from a content standpoint, this sucks.
Bo,
that's all we would have done today is National Signing Day.
You do get a Ryan Day show, though, a special Ryan Day show tonight at 6 right here on The Fan.
Well, that's because they can't do it. Can you imagine throwing a Ryan Day show in December? Along with everything else while you're trying to win a national championship? He talked about that with Klatt, and I think we'll have that among other things from that conversation. And we've talked about this forever. Like, just to me, I don't know what the roadmap. I'll have to talk to Pantone on this. Like, he would know absolutely. But like, would you want a National Signing Day? Should they add one in July and get rid of the one in December, or should they add one in July, keep it in December, and get rid of this one? Because it seems like more and more schools want these kids on campus early, which, again, I always have the question of how are so many of these kids so advanced academically that they can graduate in 3.5 years from high school? Like, never understood that, how that's possible, but they do. So much of this class the hay was in the barn on it. As it stands right now, Texas, number 1 in the 24/7 rankings. Georgia has the number 2 class. Ohio State is 3, Alabama 4. Oregon is 5. Michigan is now 6. So Sharon Moore put a class together in a very big way. So they end up 6. SEC closes out the top 10. Auburn, Florida, Texas A&M, LSU. So the entire top 10 is Big Ten and SEC. 3 Big Ten, 7 SEC in the top 10. The second 10 is Tennessee. Then Notre Dame pops in. The first non-SEC or Big Ten is Miami at 13. USC 14. Penn State 15. Ole Miss, Oklahoma, South Carolina. So essentially the entire Southeastern Conference. Florida State finally pops in at 20. Florida State 19. Missouri 20. Georgia Tech. Nebraska 22. Washington 23. TCU. Wisconsin is 25. So that's where it looks. We were talking about the momentum that Clemson had heading into this season. They didn't do it in signing 26th class for Dabo on that side of things. The one thing we always pay attention to on the signing classes is average player rating. So what is the average rating of the player in the class versus the quantity, the quality? The highest of that is actually Oregon. Oregon was 94.23. Texas was second at 93.47. And then it is Georgia, 92.73. Ohio State, 92.38. And then Michigan, 92.06. So a really high-level class for Michigan.
It's interesting you mentioned some of those teams between 15 and 20. I'm looking at the transfer portal rankings. Missouri picked up 17 commits out of the portal this cycle. Oregon got 9. Miami got 11. The Tigers are at 6. Miami is 5 in terms of 24/7's transfer portal team rankings. Texas Tech got 17. They're at 3. Ole Miss got 22 people out of the portal.
That's how he's doing it, dude.
LSU got 16.
Wow.
So they're almost punting on high school recruiting, it feels like, because Florida State's in at 7, Auburn 8, 9 Kentucky, and then 10 Texas A&M, followed by Nebraska at 11.
It's a two-pronged approach to it. I'll tell you something I would not do in terms of NIL with NLI coming up next. In addition to that, our good buddy Ari Wasserman put together his list of top college coaches in college football. We'll tell you where Ryan Day is on that list coming up next. It is a First Friday edition, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
If your idea of the perfect radio show is all Buckeyes all the time, then it's your lucky day, Slappy, the Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And though I generally talk about medicine and effective treatments for erectile dysfunction and other men's sexual health issues, today I want to talk about love. Because love is the best reason to get treated for your ED. You see, ED can cause major relationship issues. In fact, men often push their partners away when ED becomes a problem. The condition can cause depression, depression, arguments, breakups, and even contribute to divorce. But the good news is that if you're like most men suffering with ED, you can be successfully treated at Tri-State Men's Health and put a stop to the relationship stresses that ED can cause. I say this with all confidence because we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Truly, it's likely you'll find you're performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and get the love back in your life. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
No matter where you are, Coughlin is there, in-store or online. CoughlinCars.com. 13 new car brands, over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles, 16 convenient locations for sales, service, and parts, plus 4 state-of-the-art collision centers. CoughlinCars.com. Shop locally owned, CoughlinCars.com. Coughlin has the car for you.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Back in the studio with a return visit from
Todd Schmelt.
Todd, the last time you were with us, you claimed to be
the dumbest person in Columbus.
You're being really hard on yourself.
Not in the least. You know what I got?
I hate to ask.
One of them thermostats with the dial and the needle. Woo, woo, woo.
Maybe that's not modern, but not...
What am I? Eli Whitney, Elias Howe, Johann Gertis?
I don't know who those people are.
Those are old-timey people from the 19th century, and that's me. Outdated, like my silly old thermostat.
Okay, look, you're not the dumbest guy in Columbus. You just haven't called Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Those guys. Whether it's the latest technology, fixing your furnace, or a brand new system, they know all the stuff so you don't have to.
I don't have to know it all?
Nah, you just have to know the pros who knows.
Apex Pros. I'm not the dumbest guy in Columbus.
I didn't even know who Johann Gertis was.
Inventor of the gas-powered unicycle. Look it up, doy.
Okay, you don't have to be mean.
No doubt about it, Columbus loves Apex Pros, the pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Another reason to choose Hinderer Motor Company for your next vehicle. This is Justin Hinderer. Every vehicle comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty, award-winning service, and our exclusive Carvenience. We pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it so you save time and enjoy peace of mind. That's Carvenience. At Hinderer Motor Company, we take care of everything so you can drive worry-free. See why we're the best choice for your next new or used car by visiting HindererMotorCompany.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Madame Giselle senses a change in your future.
Is it a promotion?
I see a door opening.
Ooh, to a corner office?
There's a creature. Beady eyes, lots of hair.
Is it my boss, Dave?
No, raccoons everywhere. Your RV door is open, and they're chewing everything.
Not a problem. I'm covered by Progressive. Do you see a bigger paycheck?
Customize your coverage with Progressive's pest damage protection and be prepared for the unexpected. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pest damage protection available for RVs less than 6 years old. $250 deductible applies to any claim.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. It's National Signing Day in college football. Most of the class of 2025 already signed during the early signing period back in December. The last remaining top 50 prospect was offensive tackle Ty Haywood, the four-star from Texas committed to Michigan this morning. He's the 42nd highest-ranked prospect in the class. The Wolverines have the 6th highest class in the 2025 cycle, according to 24/7 Sports. Ohio State has the 3rd highest-ranked class behind Georgia and number 1 Texas. We'll have a special signing day edition of the Ryan Day Show tonight on the Fan at 6 o'clock. In college hoops, the 8th-ranked Ohio State women's squad is at number 1 UCLA tonight at 9:30. Maddie Andrews will have the call over on ESPN Columbus with coverage starting at 9:15. And in the NBA, the Cavs look to bounce back from Tuesday's loss to the Celtics, playing the Pistons in Detroit tonight at 7. This update sponsored by Whiskey War by High Bank Distillery. Drink local, drink High Bank.
The best hair on the air. You are listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a First Friday Miracle Edition. It is a Hey Guys First Friday. Still time to get your questions into the fellas at 971BFS on the X platform. Additionally, in the YouTube chat, you can do so there. The winner there is going to get that $50 gift card for our great friends at High Bank. So you have that to look forward to, which is nice. Here's what I would not do in NIL in regard to NLI. I would not pay for offensive linemen as freshmen. I would not. I'd portal all of them. You're obviously not going to turn anybody down, but just from a roster construction standpoint, obviously there's 4- and 5-star kids in the state of Ohio. You grab those kids up. But if any kid is trying to leverage you and say so-and-so's paying me this, I would say go, and we'll see you in 2 years, bud. Let them develop them. Let them work on the strength and conditioning. Obviously, you want a couple in each class and being hyperbolic a little bit on this, but I wouldn't. I would do the majority, and Ohio State's doing this already. They did it with McLaughlin, brought in a couple of tackles in this cycle. I think this is the thing to do. When I was looking at the top 100 rankings, and I saw like SMU had a 5-star offensive lineman, and you're thinking like, what did they pay him to get him to sign on the line, which is dotted? And is that a good use of funds? Because typically at that position, it's pretty damn rare that a freshman tackle, a freshman center, freshman guard comes in ready. That's kind of the one position where you got to work your way into it. More than probably even quarterback now. Freshman quarterback, we've seen them come in and be able to kind of handle things. Raiola had ups and downs, obviously, but he came in, he played, he appointed himself fine. But I think at offensive line, I would be like, anybody tries to leverage you, I'll see you on down the line, boys. We'll go portaling for that. I think when I look at these rankings and I see teams, with offensive linemen ranked in the top 5 that are not traditional powers, I'm thinking, boy, I wonder what the odds are of that kid finishing his career somewhere else.
I also wonder with some of these teams if they try to make those big splashes on the offensive line because they're not getting the type of skill talent that would be sexy enough for like a boom post on social media. And I use boom. Other schools have their own versions. Ole Miss comes to mind, and it's like, well, they got to get a 5-star in something. So then they make those kinds of inroads because they're not doing the same kind of work that an Ohio State, that an Oregon does with a 5-star at an athlete or a 5-star corner or a 5-star wide receiver. And I think while you still would want to offer the best tackles, the best linemen in your state, if they're 4- or 5-star linemen, if the idea is, well, they're offering me this, okay, go take that.
And to that point,
I would.
And to that point, Ohio State this year has brought in 2 offensive tackles from the transfer portal, and you hear about those guys starting this year. You don't hear about the Armstrong brother who came in last year as a freshman. You don't hear about Carter Lowe, who is a pretty highly touted lineman, the top lineman in the state of Ohio this year. You don't hear about him being in the mix for those starting positions, but you do hear Ethan Onyeonwa and Phillip Daniels.
Yeah, I just think it's the hardest position to go from high school to college. It's just the biggest jump. And the crazy thing is, in the NFL, it's not that big of a jump. So it just must have to do with whether it's the training, the muscle memory, whatever it is. It's very rare to see a freshman come in and make an impact on the offensive line. Usually redshirt, if you redshirt freshman, true sophomore, then you start to see. So you obviously don't want to turn anybody down, but at the same time, I would not be held hostage by offensive linemen that are high school kids. Just wouldn't do it. On 3, our good buddy Ari Wasserman put together his top coaches in college football list. Ryan Day, he has number 2 on this list, behind only Kirby Smart. Dan Lanning is 3rd. Sark is 4th. Marcus Freeman up to 5th. Kirk Cignetti, my guy, he's all the way up. Hell, his only losses, pretty good losses. The 2 teams who played for the national championship. There is some justice in this. He has Cignetti ahead of James Franklin. Brett Bielema getting a lot of love. Bielema is up to 8, coaching Illinois. Sharon Moore, probably a little high for him. He's at 9. Ari loves the recruiting, and I think probably that's how Sharon ended up at number 9. Kirk Ferentz is 10. Bill Belichick, you forget he's at North Carolina. He's 11. Lincoln Riley is 12. That's a little high for him. He has Coach Prime on this list. Pretty high, which I think is very worthy of that. Of these programs that we see here and the fellows that are coaching them, how many of these guys are doing this job 5 years from now? Kirby feels like...
You want to put an over-under at like 4.5?
Yeah, let's go 4.5.
Go under.
Kirby, I'm going to go over. I think that I see no sense of him ever coaching in the National Football League. I think he learned from Saban. I think he's going to be at Georgia until he doesn't want to be at Georgia. He's a young guy still too. I think that's a lock. Under 4, I go over on Kirby. Where are you, Beck?
Yeah, he kind of feels like this is his dream job.
But he played there.
Yeah.
He's a Georgia kid. Yeah. Ryan Day, 4.5. Over or under?
I would have said a month or 2 ago under.
I'm going to still say under.
Because
I'm still saying under.
Who knows what happens when RJ graduates in 2 years? And
I just think this will burn. You saw how much this took out of him, and I know he's on cloud 9, and I just think it's a lot. So I'm going to go under on Ryan. I think he'll get an NFL opportunity, and if he gets one, I wouldn't be shocked if he took it.
And that could be the same for a lot of these coaches. Not necessarily that they will be out of the college game. It's so transient that they'll probably, while still be coaching somewhere, just not at their current spot.
Lanning, Oregon, over under 4.5.
This feels like an over to me.
I'm going to go under.
I don't know. Like, how's Uncle Phil doing?
Well, I'm sure he's got it set up to whatever happens with Uncle Phil, he'll be fine.
I guess my question is, how is Uncle Phil feeling about Dan? And
probably still pretty good.
I don't know. Yeah.
Will Oregon win a national title in the next 4.5 years?
I think they will. And Bo, I think the reason is you mentioned they're high in that recruiting class, but they're even higher in the rating of the player that they're bringing in. Talent. I think it's Phil Knight's dying wish, right? And I think Dan Lanning's the guy to do. I think he's got the chops to be a national championship head coach.
I would agree. Sark, I'm going to go under. I think the NFL comes calling for him.
Yep.
Freeman,
I'm going to say over.
I'm with you. I think over 4.5.
That's a tough one, though, if you think Ryan's under.
Yeah, if that is I don't know if Marcus would leave Notre Dame for here. I mean, at Notre Dame, it's his.
At least.
For sure, he'd get better, of course. But, I don't know. That's kind of, if that situation ever came to fruition, Marcus would be in the spot that Dabo Swinney was in at Clemson. Do you leave what you built to go be the next hamster on the wheel at the place that you played and loved? Dabo said no, and then they didn't offer the next time around. So who knows? But that's kind of the one to watch. Cignetti, 4.5. I think just age-wise, that'll be a little tricky. But it seems like he would be there. Or he goes... Actually, I'm going to go under. Maybe somebody else poaches him.
I was going to say, if he has another year like he did this past year or close to, someone bigger is going to come calling.
Franklin, over. I think he'll be at Penn now. I mean, he'll be at Penn State as long as he coaches, he's at Penn State in my view.
Do you think this upcoming year, though, could be the breaking point with Penn State and him?
No, because I don't think those fans have a breaking point with him.
There is. The point, I don't know if it exists.
Bake, what do you mean? They're not going to have to play Ohio State after this year. He's flying high, baby.
They're guaranteed a playoff.
Yeah, but
next 5 years, it feels like.
I feel like this coming year is their best shot.
Of course, but you'll see. You're just Bake, you're new to this. I'm telling you, the Penn State alumni, the fan base, they do not demand of that program what we think they ought to.
I do wonder for Penn State if they're able to, with returning everybody, with bringing on Jim Knowles as defensive coordinator, how the Penn State fan would look at another college football semifinal run. If they make that, then I can't see in a world with how bad James Franklin's underperformed, they wouldn't look at that as a success and be like, we're good. Let's try this again.
Yeah. I don't think Bielema will be at Illinois in 4.5. I don't think Sharon Moore will be at Michigan. I'm going to go under Sharon Moore, Michigan, 4.5.
Same.
Ferentz has got to be over, right?
I would say.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, here's the thing that would be crazy. If this season doesn't work for Luke at Wisconsin, would they call Bielema?
Yeah.
Go right back to say, boy,
let's try this again.
Track. We got off track. We had a lot of success when you were here the last time. Identity-wise, it works. Wisconsin's a better job than Illinois. Sorry, Fish, it is. Like, would he be the first call they make? Because I would imagine that the seat on Luke will be pretty hot this year in Madison. Very, very hot for him. The seat is nowhere even remotely close to hot for Ryan Day. On this list, the number 2 coach in America. However you want to rank him, he is the reigning national championship head coach. You'll hear from some thoughts that he has on the second transfer window, a little bit on the calendar as well, and what this team can be an example of going forward. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Everyone has that one goal, that thing they want to prove. Not to other people, but to themselves. Then, right when you think you could actually do it, cancer. And that goal is still within reach. Oh no, I'm about to run my first ever marathon with my 2 best friends. 3 years after having cancer.
At least we look good in these shorts.
Woo! Let's get it, guys. You, keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
Getting the cold shoulder? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your furnace fast. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Hey, it's Anthony. I got to tell you, when you don't have the support you need, it affects everything. Feet, knees, hips, back, even your mood. I finally went to the Good Feet store, and once I was personally fitted for my arch supports, I felt a ton better. I will never wear another pair of shoes again without sliding in my personally fit Good Feet arch supports. That's because they help me eliminate my foot pain. It's such a good feeling knowing that I can be on my feet and not worrying about I'm going to wake up with low back pain or feel a weakness somewhere. I trust the Good Feet store because for more than 30 years, they've helped thousands of people just like me get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. They take pleasure in that, and it's their personal 3-step system designed to support, balance, and strengthen your feet that guides them into their ideal position. I'm the proof. I wear them every day, even when I'm biking at the gym. So go in, take the free test walk at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Common Man and T-Bone are known for many things. And while great radio ain't one of them, shoving food down their gullets is their specialty. Join Man and Bone for Fat Boy Food Tip.
Live at 3 or on the podcast.
Your home for fat. The Fan.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Tomorrow.
Black history is American history, and when we have honest conversations with our students about our history, the good and the bad, we can pave the way to make a better future for everyone. This Black History Month, let's lift up our students' freedom to learn and come together to celebrate the many people who have shaped our communities.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move. A pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Let's check in on the weather report. Today we are looking at a cloudy day with a high of 35. Tonight we'll be looking at a little bit of freezing rain, switching over to all rain after midnight. A half-inch of rain is likely in the metro area by Thursday morning. Most of Thursday will be dry with a high of 58. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Here at The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan. Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is. It is a Hey Guys First Friday. Get your Hey Guys questions into the fellas. Winner there gets that $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank Distillery. And we are sponsored by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler, for over 75 years. I'm seeing a lot of the guys that cover the college football side of things putting together their way too early brackets for next season in terms of how the college football playoff will play out. And Ari Wasserman, good buddy, has Texas against Ohio State in the final with the Longhorns as the national champion. He has Texas and versus Oregon in one semifinal, Ohio State and Clemson in the other. The 4 top seeds, he has Texas 1, Ohio State 2, Clemson 3, and Arizona State running it back at number 4. I assume that is... So he's still living under the world of where the top 4 highest-ranked conference champions get the byes. I don't think that is the way that this thing's going to shake out by the time we're done. A lot of changes in the sport, obviously. And I think that'll be one of them that gets sorted out here in the next month will be top 4 teams get byes. And, well, all the Power 5 or Group of 5 and all of those teams are still going to get their automatic bids. They will not have the byes the way they had last time around. There's a lot that needs to get fixed in this sport. It's still wonderful. We love it. Love discussing it. It's a beautiful mess. But one of the things that we're trying to figure out a little bit is the calendar of the sport. And we've given our examples of what we think it could look like through the years. One of the things that Ryan Day addressed on the Joel Klatt podcast was the second transfer window, all kind of factoring into getting this calendar back in shape.
For us, if we didn't have the second transfer portal window, that is very, very difficult because, we're trying to make decisions about next year, yet our year isn't even done yet. So that affects your current roster, and it's just messy. So I think you got to have two. You got to have 2 portals unless you're going to finish the season sooner. But if you're finishing the season on January 20th, you can't have just one portal window.
Here's he's exactly right. That last part's it. If you're going to go into January 20th, and we know that they're going to, what is it, the 27th? The one on the 2027 in Vegas, Bake. Don't I have that right? It's the January 27th?
Yeah, I think that is correct. 27th next year.
That's out. You want to talk, I think that's 2027. But you want to talk about getting lost. So they're going to come out of AFC, NFC championship game into this on a Monday night. No one's talking about it. Nobody. If that holds, nobody will talk. I mean, outside of us, like people in the college football world, but the sports media at large, it'll entirely be missed. You'll be playing a weekend of media days in a closet if they do that. He's exactly right. If you guys go, if they would just have a little bit of sense and follow the plan that we've laid out and have this thing done by maybe the second Friday or the first Friday in January and just back all of this thing up, then you could pop that portal in January and then it's good. I don't see any scenario how they could continue as a sport to have the entire most of the playoff, certainly the preparation for that playoff, the National Signing Day that matters, and the transfer portal all happening in December. This is not sustainable for anybody. It's not doing right by the kids at all. It's not doing right by the coaches and the staff at all. It's not doing right by the fans either. I mean, that's the whole other side of it in terms of their expectation. It's not doing right by the boosters. Think about the folks who are coming up with this NIL money on signing day and coming up with this money for NIL in terms of the transfer portal. At some point, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. There's going to be a player of note in the portal on a team that is in the playoff that holds that team hostage. That's coming. There's some common sense that has to be applied here. It has to be. Right now, what they did is they said, God, we're in a drought. We haven't had water forever. And then instead of slowly watering the land, they broke the damn dam and they just flooded it. That's what happened. They just said yes to everything. And it's just not something that anyone wants to be a part of. And I think you're going to see more and more of what you saw with Chip Kelly going to Las Vegas, what you saw with Justin Fry going to Arizona. Folks are just not going to want to be in this business. They're not. Because it's not a way where you can have an enjoyable time of doing your job. As fun as that job is, the calendar of it's an absolute mess.
When you talk about a player holding his team hostage going into the college football playoff, like my mind just thought of Bryce Underwood. And might be because I'm hoping that if it happens to anybody, sure, why not happen to the enemy of mankind?
Yeah.
I also, like, if they're giving him $14 million, like, you think he's coming there to be a leader and the best or whatever the hell they call themselves? I think there's any give a damn about the Michigan-ness of what he's doing.
That's their job to figure that out, Reese. And that's why I think I don't know if Sharon Moore is going to have to be. This is something that Ohio State was. That's, again, why I'm so appreciative of this run. And I think all of us are, everybody out there listening, that everybody on that staff, all of those players. The idea that they were able to thread the, I think, nearly impossible needle of recruits that were developed, players who came back, key transfer portal players who came in, all the while maintaining their culture, their DNA. They did that. They had Will Howard, Caleb Downs, Seth McLaughlin buying into the brotherhood, as they call it, all in. All in. Their minister of culture, and it's a bunch of them up there, aced it. Aced it. Because how do you build culture? How will Sharon Moore build culture at Michigan? How do you build culture? He's got a head start because he was on that staff and he was so vital to their run when he was filling in for Jim on the sidelines. But man, that's the job, is weaving that, is threading that needle between guys who've never been here before, guys who've always wanted to be Wolverines, or in our case, Buckeyes, and then getting them to row in the same direction while there are a billion temptations out there.
And I think the only way you can do that is to have the right players in place. It's going to be very important, I believe, in recruiting to, and this is kind of crazy, but not only recruit the best, but also recruit good people like the Jack Sawyers, the Emeka Ibukas, the Travion Hendersons, because how could you not come into this and not buy into the brotherhood when these guys have all been here doing it for 3 or 4 years together?
Yeah, there's that part of it, but that's, I think, the thing that's going to be so hard to replicate. I think you have to have, you have to look at a recruiting class, and let's pull up Ohio State's right now. Tavian St. Clair's an Ohioan, Carter Lowe's an Ohioan. That's 2. Bo Jackson, Ohioan. Bogpen Miller, Ohioan. That's 4 of them in the 26. Brody Lennon out of Gates Mills, Ohioan. Jack Cook, Westerville North, Ohioan. That's 6. Cody Haddad, Michigan St. Ignatius. That's 7. And then Eli Lee, Hoban, linebacker, that's 8. So that's 8 kids out of a portal. Okay? That's 8 kids in the class that are Ohioans. They need half of them to be here 3 years from now. They don't need them all. You don't need them all. But you need to have a base of kids on your roster. And for them, this will be easy with Tavian St. Clair. Like he's right. The best player in their class is an Ohioan. So that should be pretty easy to keep that. But I do think you have got to have a base of kids who understand what it means to put on the jersey and the helmet. That it's an easy sell for them. Laurinaitis and Hartline and the rest of the guys who played here and all the guys that are Buckeyes now are the guys who have been here for a long time. All of those guys can help those Ohioans teach it to the guys who are not Ohioans. But I do think you have to have it. I think at Texas a little different, but obviously most of their class will be Texas. I think at a place like Alabama regionally, you think about Baton Rouge, Brian Kelly's got to have 10 of them from Louisiana. That's what Kirby did at Georgia. His classes were primarily Georgians, and that state is loaded. Those kids know what it means to wear the black and red. You have to have some of that in there. It doesn't have to be all of it, but you need to have some of it I get what it means to put on this helmet and this jersey.
I think it was so important that you had those guys like St. Clair with you on this championship run.
Yeah.
So they got to see how all of that hard work, all of that togetherness comes together in a 4-game run that ends with you summiting college football's mountaintop. Like everybody who enters the sport, or 98% of the people who enter college football on their path to the NFL want to win a national championship. Now, I'm leaving it out for like the Jaden Rashadas probably don't care all that much, but for most, they want to win a national championship. And to do what Ohio State did, I think was really important to have the guys in that 25, some in the 26 cycle be there for the run.
And one of the guys in this class that I think is super important in that is Devin Sanchez, because not only is he a star, but he has fought off Oregon and other schools, said, I want to be a Buckeye, and he sure seems to have embraced the Buckeye culture in every step of the way here, from his social media to this run to the title. He's been front and center in all of it.
I agree with both of the points, and I think that's a great point, Reese, in terms of those guys seeing firsthand what it means to do it. That's a part of it. All right, 10:30 on a First Friday. We visit with our good buddy Jake Trotter in 2 minutes. Normally talk college football. I kind of want to do a little bit of Browns with him, so we might do that coming up next as well. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hey, it's D. Miller. Guys, let's talk about getting back to your best. If you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer. Don't settle for a standard dosage TRT program. I learned about the personalized treatment at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 credit when you refer a new patient. Go to lowtcenter.com to book an appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, Care is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Get it right with help from Right Rug Flooring. Thousands of styles are in stock and ready for next day expert installation. Like carpet starting at $219 a square foot installed with pad. And luxury vinyl starts at only $399 a square foot installed. Unmatched value with 24-month financing available. Visit a showroom or schedule a free in-home estimate today. Get it right with Right Rug Flooring. Your beautiful new floor is right here, right now. The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
Let me introduce you to a man with a magnificent salt and pepper beard. A man who's currently roasting lamb on a spit. A man who runs the Rocky River Greek Festival. That man is Jake Trotter.
Indeed it is, and he joins on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Man, National Signing Day used to mean something, buddy. This used to be a heck of a day. Give me your favorite National Signing Day memory from when this was the only one and it was mass chaos. Do we not have Jake? We had him.
Must have lost him. We'll effort him again.
All right, effort him back up. Jake, Oklahoma kid, and on the Sooners beat for quite a while. And I would imagine, I don't remember if Adrian Peterson was a day signing, like if he was a signing day or if he was an earlier commit. There was a time when Stoops was there where they were recruiting at the very highest level of the sport, top quarterbacks in the country, all of that. They started to get that back going with the transfer portal a little bit, but there was a time when they were crushing it. Jake, I think we have Jake now on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. My lead into you, when I thought you were there, was National Signing Day used to mean something. This one did. This is a big day in the sports calendar. It's not as much anymore. What was your favorite? What is a memory you look back on when this was what it used to be? Okay, so no phones? Or
we're having some technical difficulties here, Bo.
I could tell. You're telling me we are. Do we? No idea. We have no idea what's going on. That's fantastic. Where's the top men, Reese? Well, I don't hear you either.
Wow. Oh, there
I
am. Pets' heads are falling off.
Are we on the air? Is this going out over the air?
Maybe.
Can the great folks of Columbus hear any of this?
Yes. I'm just going to go with
good.
Yes. Don't swear.
Yeah,
Don't say what you're thinking now.
Yeah.
Button, however.
Yeah. Let's get the top men. I saw, we get the top men in there. We need to.
4 other people in there earlier, so.
I saw that. There were a lot of that. Anytime I see a bunch of folks in there.
Always get nervous.
I always get nervous. Like everything's working. What are we doing? Are we connecting the right wires? And I know they know what they're doing, but I always get a little nervy on that side of things.
Now that I'm out here, the instinct in me is to jump over there, but that obviously can't happen now.
I'll do play-by-play of Bake.
Hey, let's try him now. We tried something else here, and then after this, I have no clue. I'm gonna have to call people.
All right. Well, Jake, are you there? No.
Okay. So I don't know.
Okay.
So we don't have phones now, is what it seems to me. That would be the way that I would. That's how I would get to the bottom of that. That the phones are down. So that's fine. Here's the thing on the phones being down. That's one of those things where that would be money to know before we pitch to Jake. That's when you want to know that. You want to know that at 10:28. That's when you want to know it.
Keeps you on your toes just a little bit, but
yeah. You like that. That's a lot of fun. Yeah. So all right, we'll pivot off of this. A couple of things let's do. One of the things I wanted to talk about with Jake, in addition to National Signing Day, the intent was to talk about National Signing Day a little bit and then get into a little bit of a bigger Browns conversation in terms of how they will handle this week. It is Radio Row. We know that Rothman and Ice will be down there. My hunch is one of the main topics of conversation. Jake just texted me, have them try to call back.
Yeah, I just got a text from him too.
Yeah,
that's what we could interview him via text. And
I don't think that's it. I don't think that's the problem. I don't think it's us calling him or not. I think we got a bigger issue here.
Let's just blame it like Verizon. Remember when they went down? I don't know. We're hanging on somebody.
One of the things I want to talk about with Jake was how the Browns navigate the next week down there. Now that Myles Garrett has made his trade request public, how does Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, the folks in charge of that operation, how do they handle this? We know what the public statement is. We are not trading Myles Garrett. The question that I would have is, are you sure? And not scores, just talking out loud. If you just look at the roster construction that needs to happen up there, and they can pivot to good pretty quick. They still have a lot of nice pieces. And I do think Myles could elicit a bunch of pieces if you trade him. The fans would obviously be outraged by that. I get it. I understand it. Mine would be totally, absolutely. But at the same time, when you're in a position where you need to fill multiple spots, does it make sense to not at least entertain a notion of what you could return back or what the return back could be for Myles Garrett? To me, I would pick up the phone. I know Andrew Berry he said, you can quote me on that. I'm not picking up the phone. I'd pick up the phone.
I wish he didn't say that.
Well, maybe it was all negotiating tactics, right? Maybe it was that the whole way.
I mean, I know there's
so much
posturing that is done. Like, I get that, but I was hopeful that they would. Like, I was hopeful when Myles did that press conference on like a Friday afternoon saying he wanted to hear the plan moving forward. Yeah. I was like, well, I hope the plan also involves taking requests or seeing what the market is for Myles. And I can't imagine that they're not. It would be the silliest thing to where anybody on this roster who, if someone's calling and they've got it starts with a 1, you may like to get another 1, maybe. You wouldn't at least say, well, what else would you be like? What else would you offer?
How many players in the National Football League are even above Luka's level, where you don't even like? I don't think anybody thought that Dallas would ever. No. I guess I thought there were 3 guys in the NBA who could never get traded: Jokic, Wemby, and Doncic. Those were the 3 that I thought. Everybody else, even SGA, as good as he is, like I assume if Dallas called Oklahoma City, you'd at least have to listen. But those top 3 in the NFL, it's. You take quarterback out of it. Like, take that out. Isn't everything else you listen?
Yes.
And we've seen Christian McCaffrey get traded. Tyreek Hill get traded.
Saquon Barkley
was a free agent. Anybody could have had him. Like, there are countless examples of this in the NFL, and it is rare for somebody to play. It's rare for the Joe Thomas, Joel Bitonio. So, to me, if I'm the Browns, if I'm the Bengals, they should have done it with T. Higgins, honestly. If you are one of those teams and you have a chance to get assets back that allows for you to somehow, some way land the Burrow in this conversation, the Allen in this situation, you do it. You at least entertain it. Now, we don't know what their full plan is in terms of if they are not crazy about a quarterback at 2, who in this the problem is there's nobody out there in free agency or available via trade who can turn them into a contender. The most capable one out there is Sam Darnold. The money's never going to work on that. I mean, he's going to get, I would be shocked if he didn't get $40 million a year from somebody after a 14-3 season. Getting J.J. McCarthy.
I mean, they do have to get a free agent quarterback. Like, they will. It feels obvious. Yeah. The kind of caliber I think could dictate what they do it to if they're not in love with Shedeur or Cam. But I just the more I keep trying to play these scenarios out with what they do it to, the closer I find myself going to, you take one of those 2.
Yes.
And then maybe you take one with the second or third pick in the 3rd round. You take 2 quarterbacks out of this draft. You have a veteran, and you see how that shapes up in a quarterback room going into next season.
I'm going to tell you, I would do that. I've laid that plan out. The more and more I hear people talk about Shedeur, he feels like a fit to me for what Kevin wants. Quick processor, elite accuracy, tough kid, stands in there. Some bad habits that were probably created because they didn't have a run game and didn't have a great offensive line. The offensive line in Cleveland's going to be more than fine. The run game, they're going to have to get a weapon there for sure. Some decent receivers to throw to, really good tight end. Jerry Jeudy kind of busted out. I think it's a decent spot, and I think Kevin calling plays again with Tommy Reese, who was so good with Jalen Milroe, it's kind of the perfect recipe for a young quarterback. Like, if that's not a spot where you could have success, I don't know what is. I think it's even a more hospitable landing spot than when they drafted Baker number 1 all those years ago. They have some weapons, right? They got a decent offensive line. They got a decent defense. They could put him in a position to succeed. And the more that I hear about these 2 quarterbacks, the more that it seems to me like Shedeur makes sense for them. at 2. And I'm with you. I would do Shedeur at 2, and I would do another one in the 3rd round and bring in a veteran.
I do Cam at 2.
I think you get a whole new room.
Yeah. Like that's even for Cam Ward, who I thought at times, made incredible plays, but also cost his team in incredible ways. One of those 2 guys you have to at least take a shot at. And I would love it to be Shedeur, but if it's Cam, it's Cam, and that would be perfectly fine by me. But that's where you've got to start, because that's kind of where this whole thing started to turn for the Browns in a very bad direction to put them in the situation that they are now.
If you don't have it, you don't have anything. That's kind of where they're at with it. All right, we'll hit a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on The Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
This is Daily Show with Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. When you think about this deep in the year, having others handle the basketball coming up court, what kind of benefits have been to Bruce Thornton, Jake?
Well, I think it allows us to move him around and him get a catch with either an advantage or at least where all the other defensive eyes aren't looking at him at the top of the key. So gives us great versatility. He's been good in catch and shoot situations. He's been good at attacking closeouts, and by having someone else, initiate the action, it allows us to put him in those situations more frequently.
We'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams. The agile, get it done teams. The achieve more together teams. And the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Learn more about Ohio State at osu.edu/impact.
On the subject of handling the basketball, John Mobley had a couple of games in a row where he had 8 assists in each basketball game. Does that speak to his development of court vision, Jake?
Yeah, I've always been a believer. Even, in recruiting him, I always saw him as more of a shooter and believed in his playmaking ability. Now, he's had to adjust to life as a college basketball player at the highest level, right? And I think we're starting to see the game slow down for him. That's why some of his assist numbers have been so good lately.
Okay, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. and the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and there's no limit. Plus, no interest financing for 3 years. That's 36 months, people. And if you already have a price from another company, Universal Windows Direct will beat it. So you know you're getting the best deal around.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Go beyond your field of study and get a world-class education in leadership. As an Army officer, you'll work side by side with peers who support your growth, and you'll become a role model, mentor, and decision maker in any environment, at any scale. It's a challenging path, but along the way, you'll sharpen your skills and show yourself and those around you exactly what you're capable of. Decide to lead at goarmy.com/officer.
The Ohio State University Army ROTC. Buckeyes lead the way.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a First Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
All right, first up, and I got this from Pro Football Talk, but Saquon Barkley is playing the Super Bowl Sunday with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's poised to complete the most productive season for a running back in NFL history. Between his 16 regular season games and 3 playoff games, Barkley's got 2,447 rushing yards. That's second most in NFL history, behind Broncos running back Terrell Davis, who ran for 2,476 yards in the 1998 regular season and postseason, which culminated in a Broncos Super Bowl win. Barkley needs 30 rushing yards in Super Bowl 59 to break that record. Considering Barkley's lowest output of the season was 47 rushing yards, safe to say he'll do that. Barkley's even closer to breaking Davis's record for yards from scrimmage in a season. Davis had 2,762 back in 98, while Barkley currently has 2,760. Thing or not a thing?
So it's one more game, at least, right? I don't know if we'd have to check to see if when Terrell Davis did that, if Denver had in those days, did they have byes in the playoffs? I'd be curious about that. I mean, it's a thing no matter what. I just am curious, games played that it took Terrell Davis to be able to do that versus games played for Saquon Barkley to be able to do it. No matter how you slice it, he is having an all-time season. He is having the type of season you're going to remember forever, much like you do the TD seasons or any of the rest of them that have accomplished these type of things. And it's also one that big picture, when you have a season like this, if he's able to stack a couple of them here in Philly, he can go from having a really good career to potentially being a gold jacket. If you stack a couple of these, now you're talking gold jacket. That's what Terrell Davis did. He gold jacketed it with a couple of monster seasons. So it's a huge thing in that sense.
It looks like Terrell Davis had 3 playoff games that year, including including the Super Bowl. So they had the divisional playoffs, they had the AFC Championship, and then they had the Super Bowl. So it would have been 19 games for TD that year. Regardless, though, this is a huge thing. I think we all thought that Saquon Barkley was going to have a monster year leaving the Giants. I don't know if we thought it was going to be this good, though.
No, I don't think anybody thought 2,000 yards. So what's Barkley played then? He played 16 regular season games because he didn't play the finale. And then he's played already 3 playoff games to get to this point. He's played wild card divisional, and so he'll play 20 by the time he does it. So it's at least one more game is what he's played.
On Tuesday, the NFL Referees Association issued a statement saying it is insulting and preposterous that people are accusing officials of intentionally skewing games in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs. From the memo, quote, the NFL Referees Association, the union representing all NFL officials, appreciates the NFL commissioner's comments yesterday about our members' unwavering dedication to fairness and maintaining the integrity of the game. Commissioner Goodell's comments that it is ridiculous to presume that NFL officials are not doing everything possible to make the right call on every play is spot on, end quote. Thing or not a thing?
Well, I agree. you're right. There's a human element to this. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. You understand how, from a human perspective, benefit of the doubt is given to those who are more talented. It just is the way that it goes. That's just the way life works, right? You just get the benefit of the doubt. And so I think there is part of that human element that will always be part of the sport. But the notion that somehow that the NFL is, I heard Terrell Owens talking about this. Oh, it's rigged for the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for God's sakes, man. Like, how do we live in this world where I got Beamsy telling me the Browns traded Myles Garrett to the Bears, and I got Terrell Owens saying that the NFL is rigged. I mean, we just live in such a crazy world of not knowing truth or not. And it's the notion, though, that this is some sort of grand scheme is just nonsensical. And sure, there's going to be human element to it, but not enough to where it swings games.
But we've talked about it. Do stars get preferential treatment? Sure they do. Stars get more calls than other people. But this is crazy. I just think of how many people would have to be involved and know about this if it were true, that they were purposely officiating games so the Chiefs are in the Chiefs' favor. There'd have to be so many people involved because so many different guys ref their games throughout the year, and it's just pretty crazy to me.
Speaking of crazy, we talked about Luka Doncic getting traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers in the middle of the night this past Saturday. He's not played an NBA game since December 25th, as Luka's been out with a calf injury. ESPN's Mark Spears is reporting Doncic is eyeing a return on either February 10th when the Lakers play the Jazz in Los Angeles or February 12th when they take on the Jazz in Utah, I should say. Mavericks lost in Philadelphia last night 118-116 to the 76ers. After that game, Kyrie Irving gave his first thoughts on the trade that sent his buddy to Los Angeles.
Just really shocked, and you just don't imagine that you're going to get ready to go to sleep and then you find out news like that. So it's still a grieving process right now. Miss my hermano. We had a lot of time together. Keith too, and Maxie, and we just built some bonds that went beyond the basketball court. So if anybody can understand that at home, when someone or a few group of people or a few people leave in a trade, it's going to be difficult, and that's what we're dealing with right now. But this is a business. It's way above my pay grade, and I just got to adjust and be ready to welcome in my new teammates with open arms and kind of be ready to go back to Dallas too, to speak in front of our fans. I know they're feeling it too. I'm feeling it too, guys.
Thing or not a thing?
I think that's a pretty... I don't know if Kyrie Irving of like 6 years ago would have had that response. It feels to me like he's come a long ways just in terms of how he goes about his business, how he handles the media. I mean, remember, it got really ugly with him at times at the end in Boston and with the Nets. There was a time where you could have had Kyrie Irving for a bucket of balls, and he's turned into a little bit of a career renaissance in Dallas. They got to a finals, obviously, last year, him and Luka. Obviously, the folks in Dallas feel like this trade makes them more able to contend in the NBA this season. We'll see if that's true. I would think that he would play very well off of Anthony Davis. He's such an incredible ball handler and creator that he would really like playing off of Anthony Davis. The thing for Kyrie, though, is the ball will now go back in his hand primarily versus with Luka, he played off of Luka. With LeBron, he played off of LeBron. Now it'll be back him running the show. He certainly is more than capable. But I thought that was a very mature, candid, honest answer from him.
And I believe Kyrie I don't believe he played in the Cavs game, but he did play last night, his first game without Luka, and he had a monster game. He had 34 points, I believe, for the Mavericks. This is a sucky thing, and unfortunately, it's a sucky thing that these guys sign up for. This is a business, and these guys end up getting personal relationships with some guys and probably end up really close to some guys and have really good friends, and then you wake up the next day and that friend is gone and you don't get to go to work with them anymore, and that kind of stinks. And I think that's part of the human element of sports that we forget about. And the players are guilty of this sometimes too because they leave those relationships, but these guys didn't ask for this one, and I'm sure it stings a little bit for them.
Yeah, for sure there's going to be part of that. All right, coming up, final hour of the program. Get your officially endorsed coming up at 11:50. Time for Hey Guys coming up right now. Best one gets that gift card to our great friends at High Bank. That's coming up next. Final hour, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
News, opinions, and insight all before breakfast. Rise and shine with Morning Juice.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a huge inheritance. But a phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard for a new one on us. Just trade in any phone from our top brands with select unlimited plans. $829.99 purchase with new smartphone line on select unlimited plans. Minimum $90 per month with auto pay plus taxes and fees for 36 months required. Plus $830 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Trade-in terms apply. Payoff phone requires smartphone purchase and port-in with new smartphone line on select plan. Must provide most recent bill showing payoff amount of eligible phone. Additional terms apply.
As of 9 a.m. this morning, our EV trucking company is officially in operation.
Andrew's zero-emission trucks are driving the transportation category forward.
We'll make driving safer, easier, and less stressful. Now our technology needs to keep up with demand.
He needs to put pedal to the metal on hiring more software engineers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk to you about your sex drive, because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction. And if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating your low testosterone could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back the flame and desire that is so important when you love someone. So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Tri-State Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Beds are us when dreams don't get in. Beds are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Beds are us when dreams don't get in. Beds are us.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver, leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Regenerative treatments for joint pain are creating lots of excitement in the orthopedic community. QC Kinetics Medical Director Dr. Ray Tessner recalls a recent conversation with one of the country's most acclaimed orthopedic doctors.
He said, when you and I are young, the arthroscope was a quantum leap in treating orthopedic problems. I think regenerative medicine is the new arthroscope.
Surgery is no longer the go-to solution for chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, or back. QC Kinetics is leading the next quantum leap. All-natural regenerative treatments that provide relief and mobility.
I think one of the tenets of being a good physician is the old saying of do no harm. That's what I enjoy about this form of treatment is there's very little chance that we're going to cause harm, and that's refreshing to me to be able to eliminate the dangers that can come sometimes with surgeries.
Book your free consultation today in Dublin or Gahanna. Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. Or go to qckinetics.com/Columbus.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. It's National Signing Day in college football. Ohio State already signed all 26 of their commits in the class of 2025. That was back in December during the early national signing period. 24/7 Sports has that class for Ohio State ranked 3rd behind Georgia and top-ranked Texas. Hear more from Ohio State tonight at 6 o'clock on a special Signing Day edition of The Ryan Day Show. The NBA trade deadline is tomorrow at 3. Earlier today, the Milwaukee Bucks traded Chris Middleton to the Wizards for Kyle Kuzma, another player, and a second-round draft pick. On the court tonight, the Cavaliers are at the Pistons at 7 o'clock. In college hoops, the 8th-ranked Ohio State women's squad is at top-ranked UCLA tonight at 9:30. You can hear that one on ESPN Columbus. Maddie Andrews will have the call with coverage at 9:15. This update sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Dr. Mark Levy a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. Time for a little Hey Guys. Hit it, fellas.
Nothing is off limits. Your participation is required. Just use the hashtag HeyGuys and ask anything you want. Do it now.
All right, when you're talking about High Bank, you're talking about the best blended whiskey in America. It's located right here in town. Stop by High Bank's 3 locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and Westville. Enjoy the award-winning spirits. The food is exceptional. Make your reservations at highbankco.com. Drink local. Drink High Bank. The winner here gets the $50 gift card to High Bank and the Distillery Tour and Tasting for up to 10. High Bank Bourbon, by the way, is out and is delicious. Go ahead, Reese.
We're also taking your questions in that YouTube chat live. So if they're appropriate and I can read them on the air, we'll try to get them as they come in. Hunter asks on Twitter, if you could live the life of one movie or TV show character, who would it be?
One TV show character. Fiction? I think we have to go fictional here.
Yes.
Right? Is that it?
Probably.
One TV show character. Oh, that's so easy. Other than, I would want to make some adjustments, but all I've ever wanted to be is Buddy Garrity. Like, that's all I want to be. I just want to be a booster who plants mailboxes for middle school kids to attend high school in my town. Want to have a couple car dealerships, maybe a sports bar. Doesn't he get a sports bar? I think he gets a sports bar later on, like Buddy's. Like, he gets his own joint. Like, that's what I want. That's all I want is that. Now, I don't need the divorce. I don't need that. I don't need that stuff. Love my wife a great deal. But everything else, that's what I want. That's all I want, is to be Buddy Garrity.
I think being Charlie Harper from 2.5 Men would be pretty good. You know, living the life, living right there on the beach and working minimal hours, doing jingles or writing children's songs and, living it up with a bunch of beautiful ladies all the time. I think Charlie Harper wouldn't be bad.
Is that Sheen's character?
Yeah.
So that was the backstory? He would write, like, jingles?
Yeah, he was like he wrote jingles for not cartoons. He ended up doing children's songs, but jingles for commercials.
I never saw a single episode of that.
It's one of my favorites.
One. Yeah, never saw it. There was a bunch of them around that time that the Big Bang Theory and a lot of those during that tenure I just missed during that era. Yeah, that's pretty good. Reese, what do you got?
Ashley Schaefer from Eastbound and Down.
Jeez. Mammy?
Let the boy watch.
Let the boy, yeah.
An all-time character.
Dude, when he brings Stevie in as the geisha, at the dinner table when they're serving the Fanta, I don't even know in what mind does Danny McBride dream that up, that scenario? It started, he did all right. He ends up does he end up dead at the end of Eastbound?
I think he dies, yeah.
Like at the shark place? Where they the Bob Duatos?
I'd have to check back in the break, but I think he does.
He survived.
I think he does. He does pass.
Survived. Did he perish? There was like a war that they had with the on the motorcycles. I think he was involved in that, but I don't know if he lived or not. Ashley Schaefer.
W. Dynamite asks in the YouTube chat, hey guys, huge Eagles fan here. What are your thoughts on having people over for the game, knowing they will be rooting against your team the whole time? In 2022, my house was full, and it felt like they were all cheering on KC. Should I shut it down this year?
How big of an Eagles fan are you would be my first question. Like, if they don't win or it doesn't go well, will you be miserable? So I think that's the first question. How big of a fan are you? Can you enjoy it if it doesn't go well? Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is, how confident are you that the Eagles will win? Because if the answer to that is very, then it can be incredibly enjoyable to stick it in their face. So I think that's the second part. I think probably the third thing you're looking for is, how much do you like the people who you're inviting? Because the one thing that would be very difficult to deal with, it's one thing for like your buddies to rib you, but some guy who's an acquaintance coming in running his mouth about Kansas City who's not even a Kansas City fan, that would set me off. So I think you got to answer those questions before you can get to the answer that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is, are you a sore loser? Because if you're a sore loser, you're taking a big risk. I'm someone who, in my life, games that I really cared about, a lot of times I like to watch them by myself because I don't want to be distracted or bothered by anyone else. And if they do, it might set me off a little bit. So, yeah, I think you got to ask yourself, how good of a loser are you? Or are you a sore loser? You may want to avoid people.
All right, so I think Ashley Schaefer does catch on fire.
Oh, God.
In season 3. I don't think they ever officially acknowledge it, but I think he is RIP in that series.
Oh, hate to see it. Hate to see it.
Jared asks, and this is somehow a baseball question got in here. He asks, hey guys, he says he's excited for the Reds news yesterday. As you can hear, Reds baseball on the Fan, ESPN Columbus, and the Fan's HD3. I think starting with that spring training game against the Cleveland Guardians on February 22nd. Jared asks, how long did you all know it was happening, and was it hard to keep it a secret until the announcement? Bo, I know you were so excited all throughout the show yesterday. All you wanted to do was just come on in with the Reds news. We had to save it so Timmy and Dave Biddle could break it yesterday around 2:30-ish.
Listen, all kidding aside, that's awesome to have the Cincinnati Reds here at the Fan. That is awesome. And I do love, more than any other sport, baseball on the radio. I love it. I love it driving around in the summers. I love it on my way to and from lacrosse practice in the spring. Love it. I love hearing it. There's a familiarity to it. There's a beat to it. It reminds me of my youth in terms of listening to Vince Scully on Dodgers games when I was a kid. So I'm as big a fan as this as possible. If you haven't figured it out by now, I know none of the secrets around here. None. By design. I just show up. Sometimes phones don't work. I didn't know that secret. You never know. Keep me on my toes. Been doing this a long time, kids.
So I did know at last week, some point Fish pulled me into his office. I thought I was getting in trouble and fired already, but he was actually just letting me know the news. Since I was a Reds fan, he wanted to let the Reds fans know before everyone else. So I did get to hear this news a little early. It wasn't too hard because, well, Bo, you don't like baseball, so.
I do like baseball. I do like baseball.
Yeah, I found out yesterday after the show. And now we have to be nice to Phil Castellini, as he said something nice about us. Quote, Columbus is a vibrant sports market, and we're proud to bring Reds baseball to such a passionate fan base through a trusted and respected station like The Fan.
Oh, baby.
So really, where else are you going to go? Where else do you need to go?
It's the only place you need to go, baby.
Then right here at The Fan. This might take some time to actually answer for both of you. So forgive us, Mike, if we don't get to the question in this segment before the show's over. We'll try to have an answer for you. But Mike asks, hey, guys, if college football had a trade market, give me a trade for this Buckeye football team that's a comparable trade to the Luka to the Lakers trade.
Oh, I have one, but I'll save it.
I'll save it?
I'll save it. I think it leads to we could have a bigger conversation around that. But I have one that would be.
All right, Beck, we'll give you some time, and I'll take a little bit as well, because as these things come in live, it's like, well, there are a few that I've got, but let me hash them out just so I don't sound like an even bigger idiot. Chris asks on Twitter, hey, guys, what is your favorite or most memorable Super Bowl commercial of all time?
Bud Bowl.
It's the frogs for me.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good. I think the one to me is the Budweiser ad with the Clydesdales with 9/11 looking over the New York skyline. I think that's probably the one that sticks out the most to me. The polar bears for Coke, though, pretty memorable.
I think Bud Light, Budweiser. They used to
dominate it.
They have owned it through the years.
Drove my parents nuts saying "Waz up."
Waz up. Yeah.
If they didn't already want to throw me out.
I mean, the Bud Bowl was the first one, if you're of a certain age, it was the first one where, like, now it looks pretty primitive, but it was kind of the first one where you were like, oh, what's going to happen here? Like, it was like a series that played out over the whole Super Bowl. Like, there was a real thing to it. There was a couple of years where it was, like, all crypto, So I don't know. I'm curious to see who the big spenders are this Super Bowl. But forever, Budweiser's it. And then surreal for me, a buddy of mine who I worked with in Tallahassee ended up directing the Budweiser Super Bowl commercials for multiple years.
A sweet gig.
It was unbelievable. He did the Derek Jeter retirement one. He did the one where the Cubs won the World Series with Budweiser, and then he did the one with Dale Earnhardt with that car driving around Daytona with the number 8 car driving around. So he did that one too. Christian C with this one. Hey guys, is combining Grater's ice cream and Skyline chili as a flavor a combination more of a fireable offense than the crew letting Cucho go from the team? Did you get any more bottom of that in terms of like if that was good business or not? It was out of my depth to know like if it made sense. You had Reese yesterday. You'd laid out. Look, it cost you $10 million to have him. You made $16 million. You won the MLS Cup. Is that kind of what the expectation was, or was the expectation that he had to play his entire career here? I mean, he's in the prime of his career.
Certainly, the expectation was not for Cucho to play his entire career here. I think that it had been something known that he wanted greener pastures, just for lack of a better phrasing, but he wants to go to the top leagues in the world. It's not Major League Soccer. I think the biggest consternation with Crew fans is that the money didn't start with a 2. Like it was $16 million, and it didn't. And they thought that the Crew should have gotten more for his services. Certainly an arguable point. But if Cucho wanted to go to La Liga, or if he wanted to make it sometime to the Premier League, this probably feels like the most logical step.
So I guess the pushback would be, all right, if you could have got 20, but it would have been from a place he didn't want to go. Is that the thinking? Maybe. I got to listen to Brother Bone. He can probably help me with this. I don't understand. Yeah, I mean, from the business side of it, it seems like
you got an MLS Cup at $6 million.
And he got to go to La Liga, which is probably, it could have been even where his national team, I mean, it's possible the Colombian national team say, hey, we need him in Spain, or we need him in England if he wants to play internationally. That could be a part of it as well. We're not going to award a winner, because I have the Mike one I think is pretty good. We're going to award a winner in the next segment. There's a couple other ones on college football I want to get to as well. We will do that coming up next. But I do have the answer to the college football equivalent of the Luka trade. We will do that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Hey guys, Anthony Rothman here. Let's talk about getting you back to your best. If you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. You need to know your T levels, so get tested. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be your answer, and you'll find true experts at Low T Center. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 credit when you refer a new patient. Go to lowtcenter.com to book the appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
You'll find low prices on thousands of items. The yellow and red tags mean you'll save big on sparkling ice water, Kroger brand chips, and so much more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
85% of people will experience foot pain in their lifetime. Long-term remedies are scarce. Good Feet Arch Supports from the Good Feet Store can help. They are designed to relieve common foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, and they also improve balance and comfort. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. It's time for the Love Your Windows sales event. If you buy 2 windows, you get 2 free, and there's no limit. So if you need 20 windows, you only pay for 10. It's the perfect way to save big while upgrading your home. And that's not all. Universal Windows Direct is offering no interest financing for 3 years. That's 36 months of easy payments with 0% interest. And if you already have a price from another company, Universal Windows Direct will beat it. So you know you're getting the best deal around. Call them today, 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota. Is it time for a new or used car? Visit Tansky Sawmill Toyota on the corner of Sawmill and 161, home of the Tansky Promise, where our salespeople aren't paid on commission. We have a 72-hour exchange policy, and every transaction is upfront and transparent. You can even start the process at home. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com to start your purchase today and to see all of this month's specials. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app or listen at home on your smart speaker or open up the iHeartRadio app or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
February is Children's Dental Health Month, so make sure you make an appointment for your child to visit an Ohio Dental Association member dentist. ODA member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care, are bound by the highest ethical standards, and have access to superior ongoing education and training. On your next visit, ask if your child's dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit ODA.org. We plant trees because people need trees, and when planted in the right place, they have great impact. Trees help slow climate change, filter our air and water, foster biodiversity, and strengthen our communities. They create the kind of transformational change the world needs now. April is a month filled with opportunities to care for and plant trees. For planting resources, contact an Ohio ISA certified arborist who can help you learn how to take the best care of your trees. Visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Time now to check in on the weather report. Today, cloudy with a high of 35. We do have a winter weather advisory for a little bit of freezing rain tonight. Biggest impacts will be north of I-70. The precipitation begins between 7 and 9 p.m. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, a couple. We got to get out the High Bank gift card, and I think Mike's going to be the winner of that. So we'll get that to you, Mike, and I'll get an answer to your question. Also have another college football question I wanted from just some dude tweeted us. We'll get to that one as well. Brian did ask on the X platform. So is being a member, and this is in regard to Kyle Brandt of the NFL Network put out, quite honestly, a hilarious 2 minutes that I retweeted on what it's like at Super Bowl week, or what it's like at the Combine, honestly, where it's essentially, hey, when'd you get in? Like all this small talk nonsense that you have with people who you know primarily just from seeing them either on social media or like guys that you've had on the show before. Like we used to have like Renner and those PFF guys. It was always like that at the Combine when I would see them. Like, hey, when'd you get in? How long you staying? You going to be here through the weekend? That type of stuff. Small talk. So that got Brian asking this question. So is being a member of the media more work than it's worth for the Super Bowl? Is it typical that the guys who arrive on Monday for the Super Bowl is probably having issues at home and uses it as an excuse to get away? In television, which is all of the Super Bowls I went to was from the perspective of being someone in television, it was way more work than it was worth. Because in television, all of the stuff happens during the day. So your work day starts really early. And then you have live shots that you have to do in what we call the 90. So that's the 5 o'clock news through the 6 o'clock news. Probably 4 o'clock news, you'd have to do it now. And then you also have to do stuff for 11. In many instances, when I was at these things covering these, I would have to do live shots at the 11. So my days oftentimes were 16, 18 hours. So it was not particularly enjoyable. For AR and Matty Ice, who are down there right now, it's probably quite enjoyable. They'll go to some stuff in the mornings. I'm sure they're working like hell to be able to get the right guests that they want on from Radio Row. But a lot of those guys just kind of walk through. So you just need to be aggressive and grab it. I know AR is great at it. You just grab those guys and you get them on, former NFL legends, and you talk about the Super Bowl. It's a little bit like shooting fish in a barrel. I mean, there's a lot of guys you can choose from to have guests on. So, and then they're done at 3. So they'll be able to do all the media parties and all of that type of stuff. So they're going to have a very enjoyable time down there. They're going to do work. They're going to do great radio, but they're going to have an enjoyable time. On the TV side, it sucked. It was just awful long days. And a lot of folks, a lot of the radio folks pull out. They're done Friday. They're gone because there's not a whole lot of value from them on the weekend. So a lot of them don't stay through the game. A lot of the national folks will leave at the end of the week. Anytime I went to a game, it was because the game was on our air. So I was always a CBS affiliate. So anytime it was on CBS, that's when I went and why we went. And so I would have to go live like right after the Super Bowl. So like a lot of instances, it was panic. All right, game's over. Grab some sound and then sprint out to the live truck and do a live shot. So that's how that business worked. And that wasn't particularly enjoyable to cover. It was a lot of work covering a Super Bowl, Brian, at that point. All right. Was it Mike's question?
About the Luka trade? Yep.
It's Arch Manning. That's the answer. There's honestly no other answer that I even think is acceptable. And we love Julian Sand, obviously. And I think he's going to be great. But like if you woke up, the equivalent of the college football equivalent of the Luka trade is you wake up on a Sunday morning to news that Arch Manning is transferring to Ohio State, is in the portal, and he's going to be a Buckeye. That's what that is. I don't even know. I couldn't even think of another player. It has to be quarterback because that's how critical Luka is. So you can't say like, the All-American freshman defensive end for South Carolina. I mean, that ain't it. It to me, it has to be quarterback in order to have that type of impact.
No Jeremiah Smith?
I was just about to ask that, Baker.
I was trying to do one in favor of us.
I got you.
I'm not doing one that would. You guys
that would be the one from the Mavericks side of things. The hell are you doing?
Yes, that would be the one from the Mavericks side of things. Would be Jeremiah Smith. That would be it.
Who's AD though in this?
Well, the swap would be. I mean, you can't do that. But I guess like the guy going out. I guess it would be like if Devin Brown were the starting quarterback this year. And he was fine, but not exceptional. And the exchange was Arch comes here, Devin go. That would probably be it. It has to be quarterback though.
Yeah, it's like to me, I was thinking like it would be Arch for like Davison Igbinosun or Sonny Styles, something like that, right?
Oh, like a true trade?
Yeah, like it's got to be a pretty good player going back if you want to do the equivalent.
Okay, yeah, I guess if you want to do like a true trade and not play by college football rules with NIL and free portal and transfer and all that, like if you want to do a true trade, first of all, I don't think Ohio State would entertain that because I think they love Julian Sand. But if they didn't, and I think they love the other guys they have here too, if you were just doing that one for one, then it's probably, honestly, it's probably Caleb Downs. Because it'd have to be that type of, like Anthony Davis is going to give them a chance to win a championship. If he's an all-star, it has to be a position where a difference maker position. I mean, it can't be. I mean, honestly, it might be Jeremiah. If you didn't have quarterback, like if you didn't love your quarterback, in order to get something like that, you have to give up something big up. That might be what it is. But I think like the Manning has to be a part of it. Like somebody of that level would have to be a part of it.
This is why this is a great question, because there's so many possibilities and answers. Like everybody, I think, thinks Arch Manning right away.
Yeah, that's clearly the one that would be, wait a second, you've been waiting for him for all of this time, and now he's gone, and he never really even plays there. That's the one that would set the college football world on fire. Jeremiah Smith would probably be number 2. There's no other quarterback I think of that would shake the balance of college football and make you wake up and go, wait, what? More than Arch and then Jeremiah probably too.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe like Klubnik, if you're from a Clemson standpoint.
Yeah.
In terms of time served, like here's a veteran guy who's been with this program long enough that it'd be like, why would they trade him? Why ever would they do such a thing?
Right. Yeah. Those are the type of ones that make sense.
Maybe that's the best example of a trade in this. Arch Manning for Cade Klubnik. Maybe that's the best kind of Luka AD trade there.
Yeah, that would probably be it. That's a good one. Klubnik coming back to Texas. And, that's fair. That's fair. Was it Mike?
It was Mike. Yep.
Mike, you're gonna get the gift card to High Bank, $50 gift card, and the Distillery Tour and tasting for up to 10 people. When you're talking about High Bank, you're talking about the best blended whiskey in America 3 years running. It's located right here in town. Stop by High Bank's 3 locations in Grandview, Gahanna, and Westerville to enjoy their award-winning spirits for your next happy hour. Make your reservation at highbankco.com. Drink local, drink High Bank. You will enjoy that, Mike. We did have some clarification. I mean, it's in the YouTube chat, so it's got to be official. So some of the beef from Crew fans was what? In regard to the Cucho Hernandez.
Cucho, the return for Cucho wasn't $20 million or more.
So that was the beef. It wasn't that he was leaving. We were aware that he was going to leave. That all makes sense. It was that the get back wasn't enough.
It wasn't what they thought Cucho would be worth. Can you properly give a value to Cucho, to what he meant to this franchise? When as soon as you acquire him, you acquire him in 2022, you win MLS Cup in 2023. No, but that was the biggest thing. That's all?
Okay, so and then is there examples of were there other options that would have pleased them more?
Well, so I'm getting a lot of this from Scrooge in the YouTube chat, but he speaks with a lot of confidence, so I'm going to go with it.
It's got to be true. It's on a YouTube chat, and he's speaking confidently.
Rumor has it teams in Mexico were offering closer to the 20-plus million number, but the Crew did Cucho a favor and sent him to Spain. He continues, They did a similar thing with Aiden Morris, sending him to England. Although it was a second division team that Morris went to, it's here's what we're going to get back is great, but we're going to do you a real solid and send you to teams that kind of match your career trajectory.
So here's how I guess I would translate that in layman's terms. The Crew probably did a good bit of business here and helped their reputation internationally, is my guess, by making it right for him. And sending him to a place that probably pleased him. It's Real Betis, right? In the La Liga.
Correct.
Yeah. So put him a place that where now he can compete against Real Madrid and Barcelona and they won't compete, but he'll get to play those teams, and he'll get a chance to really show what he's all about in one of the best leagues, not the best, England's better, but one of the best leagues in the world. And in exchange for that, you have goodwill around the country of when players sign with the Crew as young up and coming players, they will do right by them in the transfer window to get them to places that they desire to be.
As we have this discussion, Todd chimes in on the YouTube chat. We all expected him to go to Europe this year. We should have gotten 20 to 30 million.
Maybe that wasn't there though. I have a hard time believing that he would go, that there were double this on the table and the Crew were like, no, we're choosing to send him to Real Betis. I just don't buy that.
Maybe like a Saudi club could do that.
If there were 30 million on the table, then I don't think it's probably La Liga. I don't buy that. 2 minutes from now, the Super Bowl is this Sunday. The Eagles and their place in all of this coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with the sound of freshness, the sound of sizzle, the sound of savings. With new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items, deals for days on over 1,000 items throughout the store, plus weekly sales and My Perks for even more savings at the pump. Surround yourself with savings every time you shop. At your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Visit gianteagle.com for details.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
When you bring Pella Columbus to your home, you get local, personal attention from an award-winning window and door crew.
Yep. Our crew is full of award winners, too.
Well, that's great, Wilson.
Yeah, Jerry alone has won the hot dog eating competition 2 years straight at the company picnic.
Well, that's not really the type of award I was talking about.
Still counts as an award.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
You're officially endorsed coming up in about 19 minutes from now. Rothman and Ice are getting you ready for the big game, live from Radio Row in New Orleans. The coverage kicks off today, noon to 3, right here on the Fans YouTube channel as well. It is AR and Matty Ice, live from Radio Row, presented by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care. I know how much AR loves this. I know how much he loves the NFL. I know how much he loves it. This is Super Bowl Radio Row. I'm sure he's nervy, wants to make sure that his guys come on and that the right guys are guests on the show, and he's tracking down guests left and right. I'm sure that he's trying to get them lined up. My guess is, knowing AR, that he's got some sort of either his phone or a notepad, and he's got slots that are empty, and he's trying to pencil in slots. And that's my guess on how this is going. He and I never did a Radio Row when he and I did the show together.
In your experience with Radio Rows, not only at the Super Bowl, but at maybe the Combine, what's the best way of getting a guest to you're like, I'm not sure, but let me try?
Dude, it used to be, look, they all have something to sell.
Sure.
So you get a 9-minute conversation with NFL Hall of Famer.
Qualcomm.
And then the last minute, they're going to be selling something. And it could be anything. Salon Paws. I mean, who knows? It could be anything. You don't know what they're going to be slinging, but they're slinging something. In the old days, there was a feeling of especially if you were not a national radio outlet. And Fish can speak to this because I know he's been, and I know that he has this experience, and this was my experience. That if you were ESPN National, the Dan Patrick Show, because ESPN used to take all their shows there. Back when ESPN Radio was doing national shows, were on all day long, and it was a priority for them. That's the way that they did it. So they would be there. WFAN in New York would be there. Jim Rome would be there. Jim Rome's set it looked like the Merv Griffin show set from Seinfeld. So Rome's set was there. Dan Patrick, though, the last one that, I don't know if it was the last one. The last one I went to was in Indy. The one in New Orleans might have been the year before that. Dan Patrick, they kind of went off Radio Row, and they rented out office space in a building in New Orleans.
Dan's got some restaurant-y set up.
Yeah, they go off Radio Row. So the thing that was always hard is if you weren't one of those national shows, what you were kind of do is you were looking for, in those days, because the best guys they're not going to waste their time with you. They would walk through and they'd be they'd wave to the national guys and so forth and so on. I have to imagine Radio Row now is as much local shows as national, probably more local shows than national, or regional shows. And I would bet you there's probably as many podcasts as there are radio shows. Rothman and Ice would know that absolutely, but my guess is there's a lot of that. And I'm guessing because of that, it might be easier to get guys to come on because there's so many outlets and because those major national folks aren't there the way that they used to be. That's my guess. I've not been in that capacity.
It's interesting because there's these new entities like Dan Le Batard and Meadowlark, the DraftKings, Kay Adams is live from there. Ringer, Athletics got several podcasts that are doing stuff from Radio Row. So, yeah, does the moniker even fit anymore, or that's just because it's a podcast? Just because you had them in the iPod, that's what you always called.
Well, even in all the years I've been going to the Combine, this will be my 11th year or 8th year at the Combine. That's even changed dramatically. Even 2019, 18, when I first started going to it, there was a ton of local radio on at the Combine Radio Row. The last year when I went, it was we were there. There was a Nashville station there, and everybody else was team podcasts or team radio shows. That was it. There weren't local shows there. The PFF guys were there for their podcast stuff, but it wasn't the same. Listen, this is what I would tell you. I feel so blessed to be able to have been to 5 of them. And some of the most surreal moments that I've had covering sports involve the Super Bowl. I've told many of them before, running into George W. Bush coming out of an elevator I absolutely should not have been in, face to face. Ran right into him in the first Super Bowl after 9/11. And I was in a place I shouldn't have been, and I walked right into him and his security team, and that was a very quick, well, you're not in the right place, kid. Like, that was fact.
But did you look like you knew what you were doing?
I did, which is how I got in the elevator I shouldn't have been in. I was walking emphatically as if I knew what I was doing, and very clearly I did not.
Can I get a quick question, though?
Yeah, gosh. I mean, it was,
at that point, you're already there.
Needless to say, that Super Bowl had a little bit of security around it. You were underground for like the last half mile to get into the Superdome. There were Apache helicopters circling the stadium that were going around the whole time. I mean, I went through so many metal detector bomb sniffing dogs. Like, it was crazy just to get into the building. So that one was absolutely nuts. To be in the stadium when U2 played Where the Streets Have No Names and that banner dropped, you didn't know what it meant. You knew immediately if you're a U2 fan what the song meant, but you didn't know when the banner dropped what that was. It was a banner that, in my mind's eye, went from the 30 to the 30. It was huge. It dropped from the ceiling of the Superdome, and as they started to sing Where the Streets Have No Name, you started to see these names scroll, and you went, oh, my God, that's everybody who died on 9/11. Like, that was – I'll never forget that. Never forget that. The improbability of the way that first one ended with the Vinatieri kick to win it, that was crazy. So many crazy moments that happened at the Super Bowl. They're so fun. That some of the media stuff is amazing. Like, I don't know if it's still this way, but the last time I was in New Orleans, you could go into kind of like the fan center, and Wilson is the great Wilson Leather and Sporting Goods Company. They're out of Ada, Ohio. Members of the media could go in there and get custom-made official NFL Wilson Duke footballs. So you could get inscribed on it whatever you want. Like the one that Tim Flaherty and I got, my buddy who was a sports photographer at Channel 10. We got one with like a Channel 10 logo on it, and then like our signatures. That was really cool. When New Era first got the licensing to do NFL merch, the cap manufacturer, the first time they got to do it was at that Super Bowl in New Orleans, and they had a place for the media where you could get a custom hat specifically to fit your head, and it was an all-black hat with a monochrome NFL logo on it. But it was very cool. So there's all of that stuff that comes with it. The parties are crazy. The whole league is there. I mean, you've seen the stuff with Shad Khan with his yacht in the Mississippi River. I didn't even know you could drive that thing up there. So there's all these crazy, surreal things. Actors. That's the other thing you get with Media Row. Now you get actors and actresses trying to pub their stuff. Like, those guys will pop in there so you can get some of that because they're trying to sell stuff as well. It's a lot of fun. The game is surreal because you've watched it your whole life. It's a really corporate event. The atmosphere isn't particularly good because there aren't a lot of fans there. So, like, it doesn't get – it's like everybody's cheering for everybody. So there is no home field advantage. There are these little pockets where the actual fans get to be, and then everything else is corporate. So it doesn't have like the great environments that I'm sure a college football national champion. I know a college football national championship has, and also like AFC NFC championship game would have. So it's just a little different in that. But it's cool, man. I mean, it feels when you get there, and I'm sure AR and Maddie will attest to this when they're on their show in 20 minutes. It feels like a big deal. Everybody that you know in the sports world is there. And I assume that's still the case. When I was going, all of the newspapers are still humming. Like, they had full staffs. The first one I covered, I remember meeting Stephen A. Smith. He was a writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser sat like 5 seats down from me in the press box, which was just the stands in the Superdome. They were working for the Washington Post. Like, PTI had just started. Like, they were there working for the Washington Post. So used to have all of that. Now so much of it's digital. I assume that there's changes.
It's still amazing to me, though, Bo, that It's the Super Bowl. It's one of the biggest events of the year. And you mentioned all the people in the media world that are there. And you still have guys that are in there asking Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes who their favorite ref is and if they're buying them Christmas cards and all of that. Like, it's just that kind of stuff is just so crazy to me that you still have that every year there.
Jameis Winston had a microphone for Fox, and he was asking Chris Jones what his favorite color is.
That's kind of on brand.
I was at the Super Bowl Media Day. If you don't know who Inez Sainz is, let me just tell you something. She set the world on fire in the 2001 Super Bowl Media Day. I promise you that. No one even knew who she was, but they did shortly thereafter. I remember running into Ciara at the Super Bowl Media Day in Indianapolis. Now Russell Wilson's wife. She must have been singing something, so she had an availability. And not 5 minutes later, Gisele Bündchen was there. Like that type of beauty that close together almost drops you to your knees. I mean, they just look like they were aliens. You just never seen anything like it. So yeah, it's a surreal thing.
Just real quick, how do you think, and I posted the picture of Shad Khan's yacht, 971 BFS. You can see the pictures and just how it's perfectly positioned. What do you think you'd have to do? Who do you think you'd have to know to get an invite to a party on that thing?
Well, you have to know his family. Any NFL owner any NFL owner would be able to walk onto that. And then obviously anyone who knows his family, tangentially or not, that would be your way on.
That's the flex.
Yeah, that's a pretty good flex. That takes like Jerry Jones taking his bus to the combine to a whole nother level.
He just parks in the middle of the street.
Yeah, just parks wherever he wants. So, no, it'll be fun. And I look forward to the fellas down there. They'll have a ball, a bunch of great guests. And a Super Bowl. Obviously, we've seen these two teams play before, so I understand there's a little fatigue by it. But I think by the time you get there, and they're there already, you will feel the buzz down in New Orleans. It is the perfect city to host these type of things. It's all walkable. You can get everywhere easily. Great food all around every single corner. It's going to be an awesome week down there, and I'm excited to hear what the fellas have to say. All right, coming up next, it is a First Friday. Get your officially endorsed in 3 things. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
This Buckeye Football Impact Report is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse. On The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Ohio State football Impact Report.
Well, it's going to be a while before people forget about the championship run that Ohio State had going from the 2024 season into the playoffs that spilled over to 2025. Head coach Ryan Day, as he embarks on all of the business that he has to take care of now that the long season is over, talks about how he knew it was going to be a special run.
When we came out of the tunnel against Tennessee, and we saw some orange out there, but we also felt our crowd. I mean, the crowd in that game, anyone who was at that game, that was the most wild atmosphere I've felt in the shoe. It was just a great atmosphere, and our guys embraced that moment right there. And just the way we came out of the tunnel, I just had this feeling like something special was about to happen, and the way we came out in that game. But when that ball bounced up into Jack's hands the way it did in that moment, I knew we were going to win a national championship.
This report is brought to you by Safe Light Auto Glass. This is Paul Keels on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelight.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Libman makes a difference. The Libman Mop Crew is a part of our winning team. The Libman Mop Crew makes sure the hardwood is safe and clean for the players every game at the Schottenstein Center. No matter what kind of flooring you have at your home court, Libman has the tools to keep it clean. Our mops, brooms, and brushes are proudly family made in the USA. Visit Libman.com to see our whole lineup and for a store locator. That's Libman.com. Libman, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
I used to love shooting hoops with my dad, who taught me great lessons beyond the game. He was the one who helped me open my first bank account. He told me, credit unions take care of you like a teammate and often have the best rates. That's why I've been a Credit Union of Ohio member for 40 plus years.
Make life more affordable at Credit Union of Ohio. With great rates on savings and loans, Credit Union of Ohio has been trusted by families for generations. Visit cuofohio.org to join today. That's cuofohio.org. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and there's no limit. Plus, no interest financing for 3 years. That's 36 months, people. And if you already have a price from another company, Universal Windows Direct will beat it. So you know you're getting the best deal around.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Only one football game left this season makes me sad. But watching that last game at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus makes me very happy. Scotty Vegas, and we're throwing a super watch party for the big game February 9th. Reserve your table at HollywoodColumbus.com. Come early for a live sports betting show at 5. Stay for the game with prizes and prop contests. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older to enter. See you at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook for a Super Sunday.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hi, Reese. What are you on the poll today?
The Daily Fan Poll asks, how many wins will the Ohio State women's basketball team get on this Los Angeles-based road trip? The 8th-ranked Buckeyes are at number 1 UCLA tonight and then number 7 USC later on this week. 56% of you say they're going to split the series. 23% they're going to get both of them. 20% say they are not going to get a single win out in Los Angeles.
How did UCLA get number 1?
They haven't lost a game.
Out of the...
Yeah.
No, I just mean like... This it felt like that it's been like a combination of USC, LSU, certainly South Carolina. That USC is the one I was referring to, but I know Juju Watkins is at the other USC. UConn's always there. Like, how has UCLA gone from they haven't been anything women's basketball to now being at the top of the heap?
UCLA's got wins against number 17 Louisville, against number 1 South Carolina, and has run through everybody in the Big Ten so far.
Wow. That'll be fun.
UCLA also, I'm trying to find her name here. Lauren Betts. They have her, and she's 6'7".
Oh,
so that's a pretty big advantage in the post in women's basketball.
Aha. There you go. All right, time for your officially endorsed on this first Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present First Friday, officially endorsed, because everyone deserves 2 Fridays.
You drink for the wrong reasons. My generation, we drink because it's good, because it feels better than unbuttoning your collar, because we deserve it. We drink because it's what men do.
All right, never done this before, and you're officially endorsed, but on the X platform, at R&Ditmar, hit me up this morning with this, or I saw it this morning. He hit me up last night. I'm a longtime listener who's retiring this week. Congratulations. That's me, parenthetically. I eat from 11:30 to noon in my car. Please allow me to contribute my own drink. Done. Parenthetically. I make my Manhattans a little bit different. Instead of vermouth, I use Chambord raspberry liquor. Thanks for First Friday. Buddy, enjoy your First Friday. I do not have Chambord, or however you pronounce that. I assume that's it. I've seen the bottle, but I don't have it. But what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to go buy a bottle this afternoon, and I'm going to give this a shot. and we'll let you know how it is. But congratulations on a long career. Thank you for your patronage through the years, and enjoy retirement, please. Time for three things on a First Friday.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
All right, number one for me. So my old man is flying home this afternoon. All told, he saw two basketball games from NBC. He saw 5 from Beamsy and 4 from Bootsy. He got to see a half-court game winner from NBC last night with 2.1 seconds left, which was an all-timer. It did make me remember it. Beauty of all of it. It makes me very much reminds me of when I played and he cheered for me, including him saying a lot of the same things that he used to say to me when oftentimes I would look at him in the stands and say, please stop. So there were some of those moments as well, but good visit for the old man, and he got to see some cool stuff.
First thing for me, at times during the show, I'll scribble down things that I need to do, not only in my day, but for the rest of the week. And one of the things I remembered, it's February 5th. So February 14th will sneak up on you quickly. One of my things is get something for next Friday, that being February 14th. So here's an early reminder from your pal Eric to have something ready by next Friday for your significant other.
God, it sneaks up on you, doesn't it?
Every year.
Guys, I want to make sure we get this one in. So, again, Rothman and Ice live from New Orleans down at the Super Bowl today. Make sure you listen to them. They're going to have all kinds of fun, different guests. 2 of those guests, Chris Canty and Solomon Wilcots. So make sure you spend your afternoon with Rothman and Ice in New Orleans.
There you go. Number 2 for me, I was, while watching the Cavs last night, and then also paying attention to the Blue Jackets and have those on a couple of screens. When the Cavs would go to commercial, I would flip over to a college basketball game. And the one that was on last night was Kentucky and Ole Miss. It's just amazing how difficult it is. And even the atmosphere in Buffalo, the atmosphere in Cleveland was pretty good last night for Cavs Celtics, but it takes one of those. College atmospheres, big game on campus, football, basketball, it's undefeated. It is absolutely undefeated. It is as great now as it was 20 years ago. There's something that comes through the television with college athletics that does not with professional, save for those big moments every once in a while in professional sports. But college sports at the highest level, and even not at the highest level, still deliver a passion that just permeates through the screen the way that professional sports does not.
Second thing for me, I forgot the Pebble Beach thing was over the weekend in golf. The PGA Tour season always starts, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's happening. This morning, the U.S. Open became the first major to publish a direct pathway for live golf players to earn an exemption. So it's like, just do it already. Just join.
Wait, hold on. What is it? Do you know what it is?
The next exemption category will include 1 spot this year from the May 19th standings in live golf. So starting with the 2026 U.S. Open, the USGA will take the leading player in the final 2025 individual standings, along with the leading player from the May 18th, 2026 list. So the leading player from last year in the individual standings, and then the current lead player will play in 2026.
Play in the U.S. Open?
Play in the U.S. Open, correct.
Do you think, what I think is very curious about that is, because remember, this was rumored where there was going to be a Band-Aid on all this, and we were going to kumbaya, but they haven't been able to make that right. So will Live Golf and PGA be different entities by 2026? That I don't know. They may all be the same.
Yeah, who knows? They've dropped the ball on all this, I feel like. They should have had a Ryder Cup match between the two long ago. My second thing, guys, obviously we had some issues here with the phones. And when that happens at first, like, I try everything I know how to do, and I feel hopeless on that and helpless. But we've had 4 guys in and out of this studio for the last hour and a half, and they haven't been able to figure it out yet either. And those guys are all way smarter than me when it comes to that stuff, so I don't feel as bad now.
No, those are the brainiest people. I saw you had Greg in there, you had Jason in there. Those are the smartest guys we got. That's the top of the food chain.
Truly best men.
They are the best men. They're the top men. Number 3 for me, the boys are off today. Just random Wednesday in February. And if you're asking, well, are they off next Friday and Monday? Yeah, sure they are. I have no idea. I don't know what it is. Teacher Wellness Day. I don't know, but they're off. Again, guess what they're doing? Nothing. Why? Because it's cold.
Final thing for me, quick reminder, a signing day Ryan Day show tonight at 6 o'clock following Man and Bone, who today were ranked number 2 in the top 20 mid-market afternoon shows. So your favorite number 2, my favorite number 2 is, I guess, now the best number 2.
Congratulations to them. Guys,
90% of the radio audience listens to them. That's not good enough to be one.
My third thing, I mentioned yesterday, my best friend Jack is coming into town from Kansas City, and when he and his lovely bride Amy come into town, they stay with me. I had plans of getting things ready the last couple of weeks, slowly getting things, and I got a couple things done. I'm just way better at procrastinating and going up against the deadline, so I'm going to go home today, and I'm going to crank all this stuff out that I thought I was going to get done the last 2 weeks.
I just like to refer to that as your clutch, buddy. All right, Rothman and Ice from Radio Row coming up next. Enjoy your first Friday. Act accordingly. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Common Man has spent the past 18 years telling you how much he hates people. And yes, that probably means you, too. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
In each of the Kansas City Chiefs' 3 Super Bowl wins, a Chief at 5-1 or higher has scored a touchdown. In 2020, it was Mahomes at 5-1. In 2023, it was Sky Moore at 8-1 and Kadarius Toney at plus 750. In 2024 is McCole Hardman at 13-1. Chiefs are a 1.5-point favorite on Sunday, minus 120 on the money line. For your Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle, or the 3 restaurant locations in Gahanna, Grandview, or Westerville. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
The New Year's celebration is come and gone, but my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin are still offering those great deals. Rich is sticking with rates starting as low as 0% and leases starting from only $249 a month. Test drive the Prologue, the new all-electric SUV from Honda. And how about the very popular CR-V LX all-wheel drive? A 25 lease is only $349 a month for 36 months with $19.99 down. See the dealer for all these amazing details. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Say yes to Diamond Sellers Wedding Weekend on February 21st and 22nd. Enjoy buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no-interest financing on engagement rings. Visit us in-store and learn more at diamondseller.com.
Hey, it's Scotty Vegas. This Sunday is the big game. Don't blame me. This will be much easier if I could say the has finally come. Parties, football, drinks, food, all the festivities we welcome every February. The question is, what if you're trying to lose weight but still enjoy watching the with friends? The answer? Nothing. As I've told you before, Awaken 180 is built for real life scenarios. The reason I succeeded, Austin succeeded, and Brandon is now well on his way, the program works. Eat wings and meatballs while watching the have a beverage while betting on the live your life while enjoying the I think you get the point. Whether you're in the weight loss phase or in free lifelong maintenance like me, Awaken 180 won't get in the way of enjoying the big game. Reserve your consultation today at awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com.
Breaking news.
Ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. TNCs apply.
How'd you like to wipe out all that credit card debt to start the new year off right? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Stop getting fleeced by the credit card companies. If you own your home, go to AFLcash.com now. Advantage First Lending can help you unlock that equity and get you tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's AFLcash.com. You can pay off all your credit cards and other high-interest debt super fast. Consolidate all your bills into one low monthly payment. AFLcash.com can help you tap into your home's equity to give you some serious cash so you can go into 2025 with less stress and more confidence. Get the cash you need from Advantage First Lending now. Most homeowners don't even need an appraisal. How great is that? Get on solid financial footing. Go to AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. 844-394-CASH.
Equal Housing Lender. NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.